Hello, everyone. If you can hear me, please say funky fantasy. And that way I can know that you can hear me. I don't know if the audio is improved at all from yesterday, but I tried to improve yesterday's audio. Okay, funky fantasy. Oof, this is going to be so crazy. All right. So, hello, everyone. Hopefully you can hear me okay. Today we're going to be starting a new project, which is comparing like 4 or 5 different translations of Final Fantasy IV against the Japanese. We'll also be looking at the easy type. Basically, we're going to look at so many versions of Final Fantasy IV that our minds are going to just melt. Okay, they sound good? Good. We'll get to all that fun technical stuff in a minute. It took me like 8 weeks, 2 months or something to make all of the stuff you're going to see. But before we begin, I want to explain very quickly how my Final Fantasy IV stuff, I guess how Final Fantasy IV has been in my life and how I've been working on Final Fantasy IV stuff my entire life. Alright, so first, I guess the best way to explain it is that Final Fantasy IV came out as 2 on the Super NES back in 1991. And I didn't play it until the summer of 92, but it was exactly the perfect game for me at the perfect time. Like, just everything about it, the music, the graphics, the writing, the cutscenes, all this stuff. It was like the first game I was like, whoa, a game can do this? And I felt like I was actually watching a movie. It's hard to explain that once you see it now, when it's just sprites moving around and kind of poorly written text. Oh, let me switch this song. I don't, too complicated. Alright, now we're on Metal Gear Solid. So it was like the perfect game for me at the time. And so I went to a new school after this game came out, and then I just was like trying to get everyone to play this game. I got a couple people into it. So that was 92. Around that time, this music's going to be epic later. I learned through various avenues that there's a Game Genie code that you could put in, and you can unlock like all the hidden stuff that was taken out of Final Fantasy IV when it was brought over as 2. And just getting to use that code and play around with all of the unused stuff, it was basically what I do now. This is how I started, and I just did that a lot. In what is that? Like 2011, I started doing a translation comparison of multiple versions of Final Fantasy IV. You can read it right now. It's on legendsoflocalization.com. It is very long and just so much to read. Uh-oh, that's a bad song. I mean, I'll just not have music right now. All right. So as we go through the translation comparison project that we're doing now, if you would like to use that as a reference, please do. And maybe I'll forget things that I've written on there, so if I do, please let me know in the chat. This is going on YouTube too, so please let me know in the YouTube world, how things are going with, have I missed stuff that I've covered before? I don't know. Okay, so there's that. I also sometimes would stream Final Fantasy IV things about 10 years ago, and I would make little sidebars on the side that would let you know enemy HP and what their weaknesses are, all this kind of just neat little extra info. And I would do this, and I would play other people's hacks, and I would just explore and have fun with Final Fantasy IV in this other way, this technical way. And before I had done translation, and I enjoyed it through translation. So now it's time for me to do art. And if you know me, I'm pretty bad at art. So when I did my Final Fantasy IV art book that I was going to do for some kind of promo, this is what came out. And instead of making a book, I just made it into a video. If you'd like to see this, watch Tomato Fantasy IV on YouTube, somewhere on my channel. So as you can see, I've already this is going back to 10 years ago, and I've already done a whole bunch of Final Fantasy IV stuff. Also, about 9 years ago, I started working on something I call the Wonder Bar, and that's what we're going to be messing with now. You can see on the left here, and it's pretty in its infancy at this point. I was just kind of just testing and making sure it worked. OBS, behave. Okay. Then in 2016, 2017, I did a entirely Google translated version of Final Fantasy IV. I got real technical with it, and I tried to make it so I just give it to Google. Google gives me the text back, and then I give my tools that text, and it would just do all the magic, insert everything just nice. And then I even wrote a book about it. I don't know if this book is out anymore. I don't know if stock is out, but I would like to get it digital someday. Also, I'm trying to keep up with chat, and we're going to be doing like 6 translations, and I'm going to be playing the game and talking, so it's going to be a very heavy mental load. After we did the book, a bunch of Fangamer friends were like, whoa, this stuff is silly, let's make an audio play out of the best stuff. Yeah, I did a Funky Fantasy IV book. I don't know if it's there anymore, but it would be on fangamer.com if it's still there. If it's not there, I'm going to try to push to get it digital. All right. In what does that say? 2018? I did a really big article on Legends of Localization about which Final Fantasy IV translation should you play. And it's kind of like the basis of everything that we're going to be doing today. But particularly, we're going to be focusing on the fan translations because I didn't really have much experience besides just one fan translation. In 2020-ish, I did the same thing with, instead of Google Translate, I used something called DeepL as an AI translation, automatic translation thing, just to see how things were working. The DeepL also had some funny quotes and got a lot of things wrong, as you can see. But actually, I did make a patch. It's like a kind of a ugly patch, but you can play this right now if you want. You can play Funky Fantasy IV also right now if you want, if you go to legendsoflocalization.com. In 2020, I translated a Japanese ROM hack that takes Final Fantasy IV's code and retells Final Fantasy II. And I translated that all into English, and I made improvements on top of it. You can go get that now. That's called Final Fantasy C2. I don't have a URL for that, but if you look for that, you'll find it. It was a lot of fun. So basically, I have a lot of experience with Final Fantasy IV just as a game. On the technical side, I've like programmed it inside and out. Translation-wise, I've been comparing translations for 10, 15 years. What year is it now anymore? 2026? So yeah, like almost 15 years. Oh no. But I do want to also explain very quickly why I'm even doing this, and that is because when I was doing my, I was going to update my Final Fantasy IV translation comparison back in December, and the next part was going to be for a town called Tamara, and it's a lot of the screenshots. People would send me screenshot batches, but a lot of the screenshot batches missed Tamara. And Tamara is really interesting because it's full of Japanese dialects. And so I was starting to go back and get those screenshots myself, and then I was like, oh man, I just want to do this Wonder Bar stuff, and I just want to play Final Fantasy IV again, so let's just do this. So I spent 2 months, the last 2 months, working on what we're about to see. Alright, don't get spooked. We're going to switch over. Ta-da! Hopefully you can still hear me. Turn off the music. And I'm going to turn this on. Is there anything else I need to say? Yeah, I would like to do this a lot more with other games too, depending on how this works out. I gotta get my headphone in here. Okay. There's a lot to cover, a lot to discuss, a lot to explain. But we'll get started and then we'll show you. Alright, we're gonna start a new game, but I want to just briefly show you how this is going to work. On the left, you can see there's all the text that you see on the main game. The equivalents are being displayed in over there. So over here we have the Super Famicom version. Sometimes the easy type version will also appear here, and I'll explain that as it happens. Here we have the Super NES, which was the official translation from 1991. Here we have the J2E fan translation, and the one that is here that we're seeing right here dates to 2001, but there was an earlier patch which came out in 98, I think, and so this will also pull stuff from 98's version, and so we can look at those versions. And this is the Namingway version, which is kind of like where I've been pushing people to play this one instead, but I haven't really played it myself, so I kind of want to take a look at it now. The thing with Namingway though is that, well, first it's from just a few years ago, and it's not really a translation. It's more like someone looked at all the different translations and all the discourse on the translations, and then tried to hack all of that back into Final Fantasy II for Super NES. So it's one of those things where it's like an edited compilation rather than a translation. So it has its own weird quirks, and I wanted to see what those are. Why there are different fonts, and this is a thing that we've done. We've done this before. We've done this whole thing before with Final Fantasy VI. You can see all that on YouTube if you'd like. We've done it with Final Fantasy Adventure, with Zelda 3, and I think a couple other things. But the point is, one of the tricks that I picked up while being a professional translator at Funimation and other places is when you have a wall of text and you're trying to look back and forth between the wall of text, having different fonts gives you a better foothold, a mental foothold, so you can jump back and forth. Otherwise, it all kind of just washes over you. This will make more sense when we do the big cutscenes at the beginning of the game. All right, and down here is a thing I added at the last second, and I don't want people to take this too seriously, so please don't take this too seriously. But this is a scoreboard, and it's kind of from my own like reference. But I can make the score go up or down if I want. And so if I see like any like mistranslations, or if I see text that has been like removed from a line, or just something really like weird that is a detriment, then I'll reduce it. But if there's also like a case of a good translation that really shines, or if something is like surpasses the others really well, then I'll boost it back up. Since this game is notorious for its like bad translations and having to edit a lot out, these numbers are mostly going to go down, so I've started them at 100. I wanted to have funny sound effects and like effects like explosions happening and healing effects, but I don't want to do that right now. Alright, so the this stuff, don't take it too seriously, please. Over time, maybe it'll make sense. Alright, but the weird thing is, as I was doing this, I realized it makes sense if I play this in the Japanese. But since no one here really probably speaks Japanese, I'm going to have to read the stuff out loud and then go through them all. And I hope you're okay with that. My Japanese, spoken Japanese is pretty rusty. I really didn't have to use it too much during my professional time at Funimation because it was a US-based company, so I just stayed here in the US. And if I needed to talk to people in Japanese, I would, but it would have to go through multiple people, so it was always a hassle. And they always preferred that I would speak English so they know what I'm saying. Okay, so sometimes over here, you'll see a little book. And that book means there's a difference. And we can click it and we can see the differences. So here, let me show you how we're going to do this. I'm going to read this guy's line in Japanese now. This is a kid, but I'm not going to do a kid's voice. Let me write this bigger. I gotta make this big so that I can see it on my screen because I have like 8,000 things going. Alright. 暗黒騎士の人、本当に死んじゃったのかな? And that means, I wonder if that Dark Knight guy really did die. So we can see the Super NES misses the whole part about him dying, and that's sort of a big point in that era. Nintendo didn't like the word dying and killing and that kind of stuff. So they took that out. So in this case, I would give this a minus here because you missed that out. And here in the fan J2E, we have, I wonder if that Dark Knight really did die, and that fits with what I just said. I missed that Dark Knight, says fan, the Namingway version. And we can see how this comes from the Super NES version. But that's not what's being said in Japanese here, so I'm going to give Namingway a minus here. Alright, this next line. Boku suki dattan da yo. And that's saying I liked him. For some reason, all of these translations like to put kind of in here. There's no kind of in the Japanese, but it's not a big deal, and it doesn't miss from the point, so I'm not going to take any points off for that. Sort of maybe the rating that I'm going to do is, if this was a translation class, like if you're going to go to a university and take a translation class, how much would you get marked off if you changed things? Like if you started adding lines, the professor would mark that with, just mark it out, take points away. If I don't do a kid's voice, you're reporting the stream. I'm sorry, that's just an old lady. Alright. So this is how it's going to go, and now we're going to start the game over. Unfortunately, the beginning of the game is very text heavy, and I'm going to be wiped out when we... Alright. This kid is very mature for his age. Alright, here we go. The big reason I'm doing this is just because I really, really like this game, and I haven't really played it in a while. I've been doing projects, and this is another project, but... Alright. We're gonna start a new game. This playthrough is going to be very slow as we go through like 5 translations or something. So if you're not a patient person, I apologize. Alright, here we go. Japanese, go! Alright, so here the soldier is saying, Seshiru Taicho, Mamonaku Baron ni tsukimasu. And that's Captain Cecil, we're going to arrive in Baigan soon. And Captain Cecil, we're about to arrive, that's fine. Captain Cecil, we're about to arrive at Baigan, that's fine. Captain Cecil, we'll arrive in Baigan soon. Okay, that's all fine. But I'm curious about this stuff. We can see that in the original Japanese, they changed to Baron ni tsukimasu, we'll arrive at Baigan, to Baron koku ni tsukimasu, which is, we're going to arrive at the Baigan nation. This is like nation here. Does it show up here? No, but okay. So that's a slight difference. And the easy type version was released like a year after the original in Japan, and it was meant for like easier to understand for newcomers to the genre and for children. So there's a little like difficult word changes are switched to easier words. Right. And so we have a J2E difference here. What do we got? This will be pretty common with J2E. The old version had different formatting than the original, and we can see how like this exclamation became a dot, period. Arrive in Baigan. Alright. And here we have Cecil. If you're not familiar with it, this is how Cecil's text is denoted in Japanese. It's with this special quotation mark. Over in English, we just put his name there. Alright, he's going ah. And ah, well, here, I'll show you. It's kind of like just an agreement sound, like good, yeah, good. From here we can see that he's showing some hesitation. Captain wouldn't just go ah like that in a situation like this. Also, I'm sorry, I'm trying to keep up with chat also, but it's tough to do. So if you need to message me, type BBQ before, maybe a couple BBQs, and then it'll pop out to me as I look over at that monitor. Okay, so here we have three soldiers talking, possibly 2, it's hard to say. And this is a common problem. Okay, let's see. So, Yahari Taicho mo. So the captain too, after all. Ikura meidei to waie. Even if it is orders. And this one is saying, Sumi mo nai hito kara kristaru o. Blank. There's a verb missing here, but the idea is maybe just taking the crystals from people who are innocent. It's very common in Japanese for verbs to be left off because they're kind of at the end of the sentence rather than in English. So you'll get dot 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 like this, and it comes, it's the reader's, it's the duty of the reader to fill in those blanks. And as a translator, you have to fill in the blanks too. Sometimes you can get away with doing ... but a lot of times our grammar requires us to put a verb in. And so we see SNES has Rob. I don't know what's going on here yet. Something's going on here. Alright. Taking. Okay. So those are okay. Why are we robbing crystals from innocent people? Okay. So this first line about the captain is missing in the Super NES line. So we'll take a point off of that. The one where they're talking about how the captain seems off. Are we robbing? Looks like bothering the captain as well. Bothers the captain as well. Okay, those are good. Ikura meidei towaie. Even if it is orders, that's our duties. What that became, that's okay. Even if we were ordered to do so, that's okay. Orders or not, it isn't right. That's okay. Sumimo na hito kara krisharo. So taking crystals from innocent people. Why are we robbing crystals from innocent? Taking the crystal from innocent people is ... That's also okay. Taking a crystal from innocent people, ... For what? This line probably doesn't need to be there, but I don't care. Alright, we can see also in the easy type, this next line got edited. So Ikura meidei towaie became Ono go meidei towaie. So even though it was the king's orders, so this became more specified in the easy type. That was the king's orders and not just the captain's orders. Alright. What do we got in J2E while we're here? Oh, just some formatting? Okay. Alright. So this is going to take forever, you guys. We're going to do a whole game like this. Easy text? I like that. That's good. Over here. Okay, so this scene here, I have to pause it because it's going to go... this scene here has no text in the original game, and I don't think it has any text in the Super NES version. I might be wrong. But for the easy type, they did add text so that it's more clear what's happening. This is a flashback, and it's showing the soldiers attacking the innocent people and taking the crystal. The stuff that was just talked about. Now we're seeing that. And because my program, everything that you see, if a text line appears up here, it will appear here. But if a text line doesn't appear here, it won't appear here. And I don't know if that makes sense. But basically, those new additions, they won't appear here right now. Yeah, this game is only hiragana and katakana, so if you don't know kanji, it's pretty approachable. But you'll probably learn pretty quickly that kanji is really nice. It's really nice, unless you already like a super expert. Kanji is super helpful. I think in 5 they started to add kanji. Alright, here we go. More text. This soldier is saying, Ware ware akai tsuasa wa hokori takaki hiku teidan. We, the Red Wings, are the proud airship fleet. That's what that literally says. Kayowai mono kara ryakudatsu nado. Yeah, as I talk, I need to get some water. I'm gonna get some water. Oh, I'm a pretty quiet guy, so having to read this entire game is gonna make me become a fossil. Okay. This is saying stealing from the weak ... exclamation kinda. Ryakudatsu is pillage, plunder, looting, robbery. We take pride in being members of the Red Wings. That's okay. We earned our position. This here has a different nuance. Here he's shouting and he's just saying, this is how it is. And this feels like it is, I don't know, it's not a soliloquy, but something like that. It's like someone sat there and was like, how do I phrase this? How do I phrase this so all the words fit? Basically, it's just a nuance thing. I don't care too much about that right now. This last part, Captain, this is pretty good, but it's missing the part about it being the airship fleet. Alright. kayowai mono kara ryakudatsu. So stealing or pillaging from the weak. Kayowai. Why can't I say this? Kayowai. Fail or feeble? Feeble? I can't even speak English. Innocent people. So this part about thieves seems like it was added in. We got some stuff there. This is all, like, I really don't like this intro. It's so long to do. Alright. Okay, so now we have Cecil talking now. Yamerunda. And that's basically saying stop it. That's enough, it's fine. Here, and we can see the old J2E, it used to be just stop. As you might have heard just like a pause for a second. It's because it's doing so much text on so much. It's going to happen a lot in this playthrough, so it's just a thing. Okay, a soldier says, Skashi, Taicho. However, Captain. But Captain. So this should say maybe like but Captain. We can see it in the fan naming way, so should I give this a point? Because it adds the but. I'm going to do that. I'm going to add the but. Alright. But Captain. Mute ko no madoshi tachi kara yakudatsu suru nante. So this is basically repeating what was said before. Pillaging from wizards, magicians that put up no resistance is ... Can't stand doing this anymore. I guess that could work, but if this was a translation class, this would probably be so vague that all the details of this line couldn't be like converted back into it. This would probably become like "mo gaman dekinai" or something like that. Okay, I'll take one off for that. Why are we going as far as pillaging a town of magicians who don't even resist? Okay, I think that one's probably okay. Mysidians did even fight back. Let me see what the next text is, because it looks like Namingway is like running ahead. Yeah, okay. Yet we took from I guess that's the Yakudatsu part, the pillaging part fits in there, so that's fine. While we're here, let's just see what's changed. Oof, okay. Oh no, this is so big. Alright. I'm sorry everyone, we're going to be doing this intro until about March. Alright, okay, next line. Okay, now Cecil's talking again. Let me get this prepped. These long lines like this are going to take a long time, and that's why I kind of don't like this intro. Alright, here we go. Ika mina. It was basically saying, listen up everyone. Kristaro wa waga baron koku no hae no tame doshitemo hitsuyou da. So the crystal is absolutely important for the prosperity of our nation of Baron, is how that would translate. So here we have, listen, possessing the crystal is an essential factor for our prosperity. Our prosperity, we need to, it's not clear that this is Baron's prosperity at the moment, but I guess you can, deduce that. Listen everyone, His Majesty has decreed that possessing the crystal is absolutely necessary. So this is missing the detail that it's for the prosperity of the country. In the J2E, it just sounds like he's like, we need it. So I'll give a minus point on J2E for this. Listen, possessing the crystal is essential to our prosperity. Okay, that's pretty good. Well, there was also this change in here. Okay. So the part about prosperity was dropped from easy type. So that's kind of interesting. And particles taken out. So the part about prosperity was taken out of easy type, and it's missing from SNES, and it's missing from the J2E. People are excited when I give bonus points for Woolseyisms. I guess we'll see how that turns out. But Woolsey wasn't like directly involved with this. I think he was just brought on board at Square in the US as this game was being shipped out, so he wasn't really heavily involved before. Even though like Woolseyisms is kind of associated with this. Okay. Alright. Here we go. Mishiria no monotachi wa kristaru no... Uh-oh, we're gonna have to split a line here. Alright. Mishiria no monotachi wa kristaru no himitsu o shirisugiteiru to no heika no go handan da. Oh, it's right across the line, so okay. So it is His Majesty's what's a good word for decision? Not decision, but judgment. It is His Majesty's judgment that the people of Mysidia knew too much of the secrets of the crystal. That's how kind of this would flow in a quick translation. Moreover, His Majesty judged that Mysidians know too much about the secret of the crystal. Okay, that seems okay. The people of Mysidia knew too much about the secret of the crystal. Moreover, His Majesty deemed the Mysidians know too much about the crystal's secrets. So is this crystal or crystals? I'm not sure, and this probably would have some kind of bearing on how a story would play out if they knew about one crystal's powers or about the people of Mysidia. But I'm not going to take any points off on this. This part about we're a threat. Yeah, okay. And we're, J2E says, and we're a threat to the continued sovereignty of our country. But that's not, I don't think that's in here. I think that was a J2E edition. And then they kept it from the old text too, from their old patch from 98, I think. So I'll give a minus on that. Alright, so this next line. We're almost to the end of this one line, oh my god. If you're new, this first day jitters thing, it happens pretty much every time we do one of these big comparison streams, because we have to learn just how it's all going to work, what mistakes I end up making, and what people want in the chat. So it's just going to take a long time, but just stick with it, I guess. Alright. Ware wa Baron koku teidan Baron no akai tsuwasa da. We are the airship fleet of the Kingdom of Baron, the Red Wings of Baron. That's how this literally goes. Did anything happen here? Okay. We are the Red Wings, the Air Force of the Kingdom Baron. We are the Red Wings, the Air Power of Baron. We are the Red Wings, the Air Force of Baron. Alright, these are all okay. Heika no meirei wa zettai nano da. That's saying His Majesty's orders are absolute. The royal command is absolute. That's kind of that's interesting that they would say royal command like that. I wonder if that's something that the non-native speakers who edited the script right at the last second, this might have been something that they did. Because Heika is pretty clearly just like, where is it in here? I can't unfold it even further, but Heika is like Your Majesty, His Majesty. The royal command is absolute, so we can kind of see how this comes from this. And again, the Namingway version is like a mishmash of a bunch of translations and just commentary that I've given and others. So we'll see like that pretty often. And the soldier finally says Taicho, and Taicho is captain or commander. Depends on what it is, like what you're working on. Does it show up here? Commanding officer. Okay, you can see it in like the 6th one there, 7th one. All right, let's get out of this line. All right, we have another soldier saying Taicho Mamonoga, and that's saying captain. Monsters are existing or doing something. Again, the verb is dropped, so it's just assumed that you know what's going on. In English, we would just say monsters, which you can see here. Monsters at the fore. There is no fore here, but yeah, if you did this as in a translation class, just like at the university, and you added at the fore, you might get marked off. I'm not sure. It's not a big deal though. There's times when this is going to be a big deal, and then I'll activate my nitpicky. Right. Soin Sento Haibi, and that means everyone, like, all hands battle stations, kind of. You got Soin, all hands, all members. Sento is combat, battle, and Haibi is, like, your position deployment. J2 each change at some point. I guess he said at some point, prepare to fight. Okay, all good. Here we go, battle time. Alright. I better pause this because... Okay, this is called a red fang in Japanese here. You can see Akai Kiba. Akai is red, and Kiba is a fang or a tusk. Also, while we're at it, Kiba as tusk or fang is why sometimes in Final Fantasy VI and other games, sometimes you'll see an enemy do something and it doesn't have that part. Like a tusk, it might have tusk, but it might have fangs, or it might have a tusk, but not fangs, and then it'll still just say one or the other, and you're like, what? That's because those words are sort of the same. All right, and if you see in Super NES, this became Firebomb. Normally, these are dummied out in this version, I think. And we get Red Fang and Red Fang. You can actually win these in the Super NES version from red dragons at the end of the game. And that's so cool that you can do that. And so a soldier goes, Gua! And Gua is just a sound. Okay, we'll get to that in a second. So Gua just became Ouch in Super NES. It became Og in the J2E, and Og also in Namingway. Alright. And then now we have Cecil saying, Daijobu ka? Are you okay? You okay? It became Super NES. Are you alright? In J2E. I would probably say it could be a little less formal than this. Like, this is a full sentence. If you just said, you okay? You alright? That's a little bit more of the feeling that I get. Are you okay? But it's not a big deal. Like, and then the soldier now says, Marakimasu. Like, they're still coming, or more are coming? More coming, there's more of them. We've got more coming. And then Cecil says, Kuso. And Kuso, you're gonna find out, is like a million things. It literally does mean like feces or poop or shit or crap. You can use any of those, but sometimes, a lot of times, especially like this, it's where we would often say damn. So here we see Kuso is translated in this dictionary thing as, I'm sorry, also I gotta swear because it's the game, it's not me. Bullshit, shit, damn, feces, excrement, damn, adds emphasis and or annoyance to next word. Damn hot, damn kids, damned. So Kuso is a lot of things at once. Sometimes it can be a bad word, sometimes it cannot be. It's hard to say. Like, you'll have like Pokemon, Ash and Pokemon will just go Kuso. Sometimes he falls on the ground and he'll go Kuso. You're not saying god damn, shit, damn. He's just saying like ack sometimes. Or like darn it. I can hear Ash's voice actor saying darn it. So here we go. Watch out is what Kuso became in the Super NES. It became damn in the J2E. And damn it with two M's in the Namingway. Alright, while we're here, Marakimasu became there's more of them. That's okay. What do we got here? And then the Kuso, it changed from a hiragana tsu, little tsu, or a katakana to a little hiragana tsu. There's no real reason for that, but I think like if you were to go to like if an English teacher were to grade your work and they'd be like, no, those are already hiragana, you gotta do that in hiragana too. That's the kind of feeling I get. Like, this is the grammatically correct way. Alright, we're back. And here's a zoo. These are called zoos, but I think they're called ravens in English. Okay, so here now we have an Aoi Kiba, and that is like a blue fang. Aoi can mean Can I just select it? Can I just select you? Okay, yeah. So Aoi can mean blue, green, pale, unripe, experienced. It's like all these ideas in one idea, and it's so hard to untangle them sometimes. But here we go. So I guess in Super NES they called it Lit Bolt for some reason. Blue Fang and also Blue Fang. I don't know why they didn't just keep it as Blue Fang, but I guess we were dumb. And they were like, those kids in the 1990s, they're dumb. We better change it. Well, what was it originally? Let's see. Oh, they just added a space for J2E. Alright, Cecil's going, Mina, Bujika. Everyone okay? Everyone okay? Is everyone alright? There's technically no verb in here, so you could you can drop that and it would be probably a little closer, but it's not a big deal. Okay, we got the soldiers all talking again. Hi. Oh, okay, let's just do all three. Hi. Shikashi, chikagoro mamono no kazu ga Tashka ni amari ni osugiru. And this is saying, yes, but the number of monsters in recent days, ... Indeed, there are just too many. And that's how that plays out, kind of. But there are too many monsters these days. Too many, agreed. Oh yeah, and yes, sir. Sometimes hi can mean yes, sometimes hi can mean no. This is just how Japanese works. I have an article about this on Legends of Localization, if you'd like that. We'll look at the hi versus yes equals and hi equals no thing later. Not too much later. But it's common in context for hi to also mean yes, sir. And this, like where we would say yes, sir, it will sometimes just still just be hi in Japanese. But a lot of times it'll just be ha. All right. I'm getting a little distracted here, but yes, sir, the monsters have been increasing lately, though. Yes, sir, there are too many monsters these days, too many indeed. There's a little bit of agreement nuance that is missing in this J2E, but that's okay. You can see the agreement here. And this indeed, yeah, it comes from the Tashkani that we see here. Surely or certainly. Okay, we got one more line, it looks like, and Cecil saying, Nanika ga okoro to shiteru no ka? Is something on the verge of occurring? Is something on the verge of happening? This is sometimes, this grammar is sometimes clumsily handled as to, is something about to happen? Or something trying to happen? Here we see, is something happening? What's happening? That's it could work. And here in Namingway we see, perhaps it's some sort of ... omen. Well, while we're here, I need to mention that we're not doing the GBA, the PlayStation, the DS, the Pixel remasters. We're not doing any of that this time. If I were to add those in here, we would be here until 2070. But I'd like to do those someday. I just don't know how to do PlayStation programming yet. I don't know how to do PSP programming yet. I don't know how to really... I don't even know how to deal with the PC ports or anything like that, so those will come another day. And if you want to know more about those, I actually do go into detail on those on legendsoflocalization.com. Alright, what's happening? Blah, blah. This part about the omen, okay, I bring this up because the PSP version on this line, it literally says, they changed this line to say, this must be some sort of punishment from the gods, which makes it feel like Baron and Cecil and everyone else are God-fearing religious people, which is not the case at all. This was a PSP edition, and every version, every translation has like little weird, unique things like this, and it's so weird. I don't know where to take this thought, but basically I think the way that people analyze Bible translations and like, I don't know, just Don Quixote, stuff like that, all these different translations and the Odyssey. This is going to happen with Final Fantasy IV and other future video games. There's going to be so many versions, so many translations, and if you're here, you're on the ground floor. Alright. Let's get out of this song. How long have I been streaming? I don't even have a timer. Alright. The soldier says, Baro ni tochaku shimashita. We have arrived at Baron. We are over Baron, says Super NES. We have arrived at Baron, says the J2E. We're now over Baron. Okay, those are all good. What does the J2E have here? Oh. Looks like they added the word captain. That's okay. That seems like something we would do. Oh, I messed up, but it looks like he says, okay, land. And it looks like there were some differences there. Yeah, this is going to happen sometimes where I mess up and the line gets passed, so I apologize. That's why I want this whole thing to be kind of like looked at informally and not as some sort of like stuck in the cement thing for all eternity. I also don't want to be the gatekeeper of Final Fantasy IV translation, even though I know doing this is kind of making that the case. But I hope that if you don't like anything that I've said here, you can just mute it, and then you can go through the video on your own and come to your own conclusions and come up with your own scores. If you do that, let me know on YouTube. Let me know how your scores turn out. But I do hope you'll do it without the idea that like I like this better than this just because of it, rather than the actual translation quality. All right. Oh, okay. Here we have a guy. He's the royal guard, like the head royal guard. His name is Baigan in Japanese. Baigan, and we can see that in the Super NES is Baigan, unless you want to pronounce that Baigan, but I never did it before. And we can see that Baigan, his name is more properly written closer to the Japanese and the J2E, but the Namingway version sticks with the Super NES name. What does it go with the other ones? Is it like it in Pixel Remaster? What is that? Alright, so Baigan says, "Oh, crystal teni ereta no desu ne." He's saying, "Oh, you've obtained the crystal," and he's doing it in a nice, polite way. What do we got here? Oh, it looks like they added a space for the easy type here. This is kind of the silly stuff we're going to see sometimes. Like, I never would have known that they added a space in this line. You got anything new? Right, nothing too interesting, and then the J2E changes there. Alright, so Cecil now says, ... Let's notice this is hesitation. You don't see that hesitation so much here in the SNES. This hesitation has been bothering him since the beginning of the game, if you remember, so I'm going to drop that, even though it's saying, but Mysidians were so helpless. Alright, so we got that. So, Shikashi, Mysidia no hitorito wa marude muteiko datta. But the people of Mysidia were almost basically put up no... my brain's dying, what is that word? Muteiko, no resistance. It was they basically had put up no resistance at all. So they were, I don't think they were helpless technically according to the Super NES, but they put up no resistance. They didn't resist at all. It says J2E, that's pretty good. But it's all kind of a almost as if they didn't. Mysidians were helpless. Maybe, I guess so. And Baigan now says, "Nani o osharu no desu. Sa, heika ga omachi desu." So here he's using really polite language in Japanese. Let me scroll down. Oh yes, there's just that space. Osharu no desu is a very polite way of saying to say. You can see here in this dictionary entry here, it says it's an honorific for saying to say, to speak, to tell, to talk. We also have the no desu. And if you know basic Japanese, you know des is already going to be polite. What are you trying to say? This way, Cecil. Yes, sa heika ga omachi desu is saying, now then, His Majesty is waiting. And this waiting part is also kind of like polite. It's talking about His Majesty in a sort of polite way. So this is missing the part about the king is waiting. So we'll take that from Super NES here. In the J2E, he says, "What are you saying? ... For some reason, come, His Majesty is waiting." That's pretty good. Baigan in Namingway says, "I'm afraid I don't understand." This way, Cecil. So sometimes in Japanese you can say, "What are you saying?" Like literally you can say, "What are you saying?" But it's not meant to be taken super literally. It's more like sometimes it can be like taken, "I'm afraid I don't understand," in other ways. So I'm okay with that right now. This way, Cecil. But it's not mentioning that His Majesty is waiting. So Namingway loses a point here. Yeah, what are you trying to say? Could be a little aggressive in English, especially if you take the context out. A lot of these lines, if you look away from the screen and look at just the text by itself, a lot of things will crumble away, and that's something you need to look at. This is not so important with games, but when it comes to like subtitle translation, you can't guarantee that someone watching the subtitles is watching 100% every time. They might get distracted and miss a line. So if they miss a line and they come back, if you have a well-constructed subtitle translation, it'll give them like a handhold back. And so it's important to think about that, but it's not so much in games. Alright, here Baigan says, Cecil dono. And dono is, it's kind of like san, but it's more like sir or lord. Like it's something you would put after a name, like san or sama or chan, but dono is kind of archaic a little bit, and it's like a formal word. Sometimes it'll be sir, so you get Sir Cecil here in the J2E. You don't see it being reflected here. It doesn't need to be here because it's just his name, and sometimes in subtitle translations, one philosophy is if you can hear the name and it's just the name, you don't need to subtitle it. And so I can kind of see why people would want to do that here. But sometimes I'll think about it, if I wrote a really epic story and I spent my time like carefully crafting every line, I don't want someone to come translate and kind of bulldoze through it all. I want them to also take their time and go through and piece everything nicely together and with the same sort of spirit. So for now, I'm gonna, just because, I'm gonna take these down. What does this one say? Oh, just formatting changes. Here we have the easy type changes shibashi to kokode. Shibashi is kind of like a little while. And that changed to just wait here. Please wait here in a polite way. Does any of this making sense? Am I overreacting on things? Let me know in the comments. Yeah, a moment please for Cecil. And so when I point out the mistakes in this, I'm not pointing them out the way most people would. I'm doing it kind of, again, like from a translator's perspective, if I was taking a translation course or if I was teaching a translation course. A lot of times you would like to be able to, from your translation, be able to work backwards to see what the original was. Like, can you taste the source text? And that's kind of what I'm looking for here. Because what I kind of have gotten the impression is that when people are comparing these fan translations, they want to know which one is the closest to the original. Even if they don't know what closest means, there's a lot of things that goes into closest. This is all like everything I'm trying to do. I'm trying to like think of it as the way that people have been trying to make new patches and they kind of mess up. I'm trying to answer that. Uh-oh. So I messed up just now, but luckily we have all this. So he's saying, hey, so Baigan now is saying, Heika, osore nagara Cecil no yatsume ga Heika ni fushi no idaiteru yosu desu. It's kind of a very fancy phrasing. He's talking very poorly about Cecil, and he's talking very politely, naturally to the king. He's saying, Your Majesty, osore nagara is like, unfortunately, or I'm afraid to say this, that Cecil, but he's putting Cecil down now. Yatsume. Does that show up in here? Well, you can see Yatsu here is like fellow guy chap, but anyway, that me at the end, if you put a me after something, it really makes it not a good thing. So he's saying that darn Cecil, or that I don't know, what's a good word for it? Like that detestable Cecil, that jerk Cecil, appears to be harboring suspicions about Your Majesty. Here we have in the SNES, I'm afraid Cecil has developed quite a rebellious air. And this works. I mean, it explains what's going on, but he's actually saying he appears to harbor, he's just saying suspicions. He's not rebellious, especially from like the things that we just saw and the things that were said. He's not rebellious, he just has suspicions or like misgivings. Misgivings is probably a good word. Fushin, that's such a It's one of those N1 words, I think. That rapscallion. Yeah, rebellious air. I really like that phrase, so I wonder how that came about. Okay. Your Majesty, it seems Cecil has developed a distrust of the throne. Using the throne instead of Heika again, we don't like to repeat ourselves so much in English. It just feels weird, so using the throne like this with capitals is pretty cool. I'm okay with that. And seems matches with Yosu here, which is also nice. Like there are signs, or it appears that it is the case. It would appear Cecil's faith in you begins to waver. That works okay. The thing is, this putting down Cecil thing is pretty strong in Japanese, and I don't really see it in any of the versions. And even though this is kind of petty of me, I'm gonna take a point off on all of those. Because he's kind of talking bad behind our backs. Alright. Okay, so now we're gonna have the king. The king is now talking, and he goes "Makoto ka," and that's basically really or truly, 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 truly. Yeah, okay, truly was used everywhere. Sasuga wa kono wa heicho. And I would expect no less of the head of the royal guard, is what that says. Well done, captain of the guards. It's fine. Well done, Baigan. The thing is, it's not saying that he's the captain of the royal guard here, which is a pretty important detail. Okay, here we have truly as royal guard captain. You've done well. Man, I got a burp for a second. Okay, let me get a drink of water. Okay, so we have a question. Does Baigan have a noticeable tone to his speech that differentiates his lines from, say, Cecil or Kain? In a second. Let me check. Let me go back up. Yeah, okay. He's talking he's talking formally in like the speech style you would speak to a king here. But I don't think Cecil would speak this way to the king. Like, he wouldn't use osore nagara, idaiteru yosu desu. No, I don't know. It has an underling feel, but it is so small that I probably shouldn't have even mentioned that. Okay. That's what you've done, but it matters not. So this type of phrasing, I see it a lot in like fan translations. It almost feels like people are trying to pull from Power Rangers villains or like Darth Vader type speech. I'm not even sure that line is in here, but we'll see. Okay. Yoku shiarasete kureta. You've done well to inform me. Thank you for letting me know. It says in the Super NES or the J2E. It doesn't say it in SNES, so I'm gonna take that out. Like, if I wrote a big old script and someone was just taking lines out of my script, I would be a little upset, and I would be like, it's not like, I don't know, there's pieces missing from it, and I wouldn't feel it's a full translation. I think that's the feeling I have at the moment. Okay. Yoku shiarasete kureta. Okay, so you've done well to tell me became, but it matters not, and that would definitely get marked off in like a translation course. Daga kristaru saite ni haireba yoi. Here he's speaking in a pretty cool old style. E becomes yoi, for example. Okay, I see. So, but it matters not. Obtaining the crystal is more important. So the whole part of you've done well to inform me was just taken out of Namingway, so my point deduction, I think I'll keep that. But Daga kristaru saite ni haireba yoi. Obtaining the crystal is more important. All that matters is the crystal. Yeah, there's a lot missing in the Super NES here. We must do something. That doesn't... Alright. I forget how I marked that off already, but okay. Let's look at these. Let's look at that. Okay. So the osore nagara became doyara, which means it appears. It's like a much simpler phrase that was used in easy type. It appears that. And yosu, that's kind of neat how yosu just became yo. It's kind of the same meaning, like appears this way. Alright. Cecil o yonde maire. Another like cool, like older, fancy way of saying that in Japanese. Right, sin. So it's basically saying go call Cecil. Call in Cecil, call him in, send him in. Okay, that's fine. And then now here Baigan says ha. And ha, like I mentioned before, is how you would probably say yes sir or something in like a formal military way. They'll go ha. So a lot of times that will get translated as like yes sir, but since this is a king, you get yes your majesty, yes my liege, yes your majesty. Alright. Little Bob Chung. Poe's not here at the moment, but she'll be here in maybe an hour or an hour and a half. Alright, so Baigan now has come to the door and says, Cecil dono, heika ga oyobi desu, dozo. So, like, Sir Cecil, His Majesty summons you. Please come in, something like that. Cecil, His Majesty summons you. Please come in. Sir Cecil, His Majesty awaits. Awaits isn't... It could work. Could work. But... I don't know. Yeah, His Majesty bids you enter. That's a pretty cool way to say that. It seems like how they would probably have said that in the DS script, something like that. Oh, I wonder if Namingway did pull from the DS version at all. I think it was... Was it Rodimus Primal who worked on Namingway or headed it? If so, anyway, I hope you don't mind me doing this. I'm glad that you've worked on this, and I'm glad that we've been like having improvements since the J2E times. Alright, so I'm going to take away a point from J2E here because it's summons or calls and not awaits. Just, it's kind of a small thing. But you'd probably get marked off a little bit. Okay, now the king now says, Cecil, gokuro deatta, de kristaru wa. So, Cecil, good work. So, what of the crystal? Here we have, we thank you for successfully completing the mission. Now, where is it? We thank you for successfully completing the mission. Well, I kind of like this could be the royal we, I wonder. Or it could just be we. Well done, Cecil. So, where's the crystal? The Kingdom of Baron hails your return. That feels like DS, kind of like a glow up. May I have the crystal? Okay, yeah, so... Oh, okay, it's okay. It's more like asking a question. So, what of the crystal? But it's not a big deal. Ha, kochira ni is what Cecil says. Again, it's the ha, and then here it is. Here, my liege, is the Super NES. My lord, I have it. I guess so. May I have the crystal? All this is okay. I mean, I could get real nitpicky. I'm sure you, in the YouTube, you could get real nitpicky. If you want to, please do. All right, here we have an interesting one. This is no one talking, but you wouldn't know that. Okay. Mizu no kristaru o te watashita. So you gave away or handed over the crystal of water. You can see the Mizu right here is water. And you can see in the Super NES version that water is missing here. So it's just a crystal. This might have been one of the first times in the Japanese script where we learned that it's specifically the water crystal, but we don't know that here. I think we learned it elsewhere in the Super NES script, but not here. So because it misses that one thing there, during an important scene, I'll take a point off Super NES. You gave the king the water crystal. It's okay. The water crystal is there and gave. But you didn't technically give it to the king. You gave it to Baigan. So for that, we're going to do that. Also, for a long time, it just felt like this was Baigan saying, hand over the crystal, like a command to us. But no, it's just a narration. And it's not clear that it's narration. And then the naming way, it just says, relinquished the water. I don't remember, but I don't think there's an icon here. I don't think there's an icon there. If we were to boot up the naming way patch, I don't think there's an icon there. Relinquish the water. It's just a strange one, so we'll just do that. I think the different elements of the crystals like gets mentioned a couple times in the Super NES translation, but nothing really important like comes from it. I don't think having one crystal doesn't give you extra powers or anything. All right. Baigan now here says honmono no you desu. It appears to be a genuine article. It appears to be real. It seems to be legit. Although I don't think legit. I probably would have translated as legitimate if not legit. Okay. Honmono no you desu. Real crystal, says Baigan. Here he's saying like a full sentence. That's polite. It appears to be real. And here it feels like he's slobbering in the SNES version. Real crystal. So just for that. Also, another important thing with games, game text, but also with subtitle text, is a lot of these lines were probably meant to be acted out in some way, even if it's not really clear in these old Super NES games. Probably in the minds of the writers, these scenes are unfolding, and they probably have delivery of lines in mind. And you want, as a translator, you kind of want to keep that intact too. So delivery is important, which makes timing important. And there's a lot you have to keep track of as a translator. And so the delivery of this feels off to me. Here we have in J2E, there's a whom. It appears to be genuine. The whom isn't in there in Japanese, but it looks like, it's natural that you would have someone check it before they say that. It's genuine, my liege, says the naming way. There's the uncertainty or the hearsay of the original is now gone because it's yo desu, seeming to be, appearing to be. But I understand, and sometimes yo desu does get dropped down to just the plain, so I'll go with that for now. So as of this early cutscene, SNES has lost 10 points, J2E has lost 5 points, and the naming way has lost 4 points. So right now the naming way is in the lead. I think we're going to go into the negatives by the end of the game. That's why I started at 100, kind of with the idea of maybe like you were taking a translation course, and this is a test, and you start at 100 points, and just you deduct, but this is a long game, so it's going to be deducting like crazy. All right, it appears to be genuine. It's genuine, my liege. Okay. Now the Baron King is saying, Soka, oh, nanto mabayui. And they're saying, and I was basically saying, it is, or is it? Oh, how bright, or how dazzling, or how shining. How's this translated? Dazzling, glaring, dazzlingly beautiful. So then the nanto is just kind of like a emphasizer. It's like, how dazzling. Oh, how dazzling it is. Yes, what splendor, says naming way. And then in the Super NES, we see the king just says, good. Cecil, you may leave now. But so the whole point about it being like bright and shiny is missing in the Super NES, so I'll take that out. In the J2E version, we see Soka becomes it is. Oh, nanto mabayui became, oh, how it glimmers. Like light shining on the depths of the sea. That's definitely not in the original text. That was added by J2E, so we'll drop that. And they left it in all the versions of the patch, even though the original version had it in there. So it's kind of like a little bit of addition there. Speaking of additions, like kind of the patterns that we're going to see as we go through these Final Fantasy IV translations, we're going to see things added, we're going to see things removed, we're going to see things like messed up on accident, we're going to see things changed on purpose. There's all kinds, there's smaller patterns than that too, but we're going to see all these different patterns. And these are patterns that come from multiple translations of anything. And so you'll see these things in like what other stuff has multiple translations? Like the Odyssey. The Odyssey has had many translations, and then everyone argues over them, especially people who don't know translation and people who aren't looking at the translation like we are now. The Bible has probably had so many things added and removed and changed, and probably through political power over thousands of years. And so these kinds of additions and stuff, we're gonna see them in this game too. And so we see this right here. We're like, oh, how it glimmers like light shining on the depths of the sea. I assume Bible historians could probably pop in and be like, oh yeah, there's lines added to the Bible in 1176, and it was this line. So whenever I think about translation and translation comparison, I always think about outside of just games. Hello, Ann K. All right. Sorry that this is very quiet right now. All right. Sagate yoizo, Cecil. And that's saying you may go back, you may leave now. Sagate. Sagate is to like retire, to fall step back. You may go now. Basically, it's like a fancy way of saying going back. You may leave now. It became in the Super NES. You may leave, Cecil. Cecil, you are dismissed. I like this dismiss, so yeah, let's go with that. I like that. Namingway got a point. All right, let's continue. I'm getting my windows mixed up here, so I might point at wrong things. So someone in the chat just says, we need someone to do a Bible translation comparison stream. And Alexbert says, now that would take like 10 years, and it probably would. One of the other things one of my other paths is I've been studying the Choctaw language and its surrounding languages. The problem is there's not a whole lot of like written output in the Choctaw language. And that means that I have to take whatever I can get. And some of the easiest stuff to find is Choctaw Bibles. And so I'm going to have to go through the Choctaw Bibles someday. And originally it was translated from the Greek and not from the English, the various English ones. So it was skipping all of like the mistranslations and things that had happened. So I kind of wonder what kind of cool stuff will we find in those old Choctaw translations of the Bible. So we might do some Bible translation stuff someday. All right. So someone says the King James Bible has all sorts of weird stuff that was added before it was even translated because they basically just use whatever manuscripts they could find without thinking too much about it. My current theory about all the Bible translations and stuff is that the Bible is probably it probably began before written history, when people were telling stories about the origins of the world and the origins of their cultures. And probably a bunch of people were like, we should collect all these stories. We got to preserve all these stories. Let's put all these stories together. And then over time, that collection probably like morphed and mutated, and its uses changed. Some people would use it for religion. Some people would use it for, I don't know, whatever, political stuff. I don't know. That's just one of my distant thoughts. We'll see the Bible someday. All right. Back to Final Fantasy IV, which is modern. Okay, and so we have Cecil saying Heika, and Heika is again Your Majesty, so that's fine. But it looks like J2E changed something here, so let's see. It looks like they had a ... originally, and they changed it to match the Japanese punctuation. Let's go. Music. Is there music going yet? All right, now we have the Baron King going Nanja. And he's saying, well, what? But he's saying it in a different speaking register, I guess you could call it, than usual. Something's clearly different about this one piece of text. I don't know how to explain it. The jaw could work because he's old, but something about it just feels strange. Like you wouldn't expect him. And the way he spun around there was also indicative, but if we take that out, it's still something's off. Okay. What? Yes. While we're here, the jaw I just mentioned, sometimes it's like it's like the old people equivalent of da. So if you know da, which is just to be, like, my name is Clyde, so Clyde da. If I was an old man, I'd be like, Kuraido ja. But you can also, ja sometimes is a regional dialect. Okay, here we go. Now we have Baigan going Nandes, and he's being more polite about it. Here we have, this is all pretty well preserved, but in Namingway it says, "You were dismissed, Captain," which is not in the original, so Namingway loses a point. Alright, now we have Cecil. I'm waiting for this music to kick in because you guys must be bored. Alright, Cecil saying, "Heika wa itai douyu o tsumori desu?" So, Your Majesty, what exactly are you intending or thinking or planning or something like that? Let's see how it does this. Oh, okay, it's not good. Oh, this is a long text. Oh, look how long this J2E one is here. Look how long that is compared to the other ones. Alright. Okay, yeah, the music will come after this. Okay, so he's saying, what are you planning, Your Majesty? Like, what are you thinking? Minna heika ni fushi no idaite orimasu. Everyone is uneasy about you or has uncertainties about you. How do we do fushin again? Not disloyalty, but I guess disloyalty could work. But it's more just like incomplete understandings, doubt, question, distrust, suspicion, strangeness, infidelity. It's kind of all of those things mixed into one. So everyone harbors those things about you, Your Majesty. We do not understand the meaning of taking crystals away from the honest people. So this part seems to be missing. So this first whole section seems to be missing, or has changed in the Super NES. So I'm going to take 1 point from there. Your Majesty, we do not understand your motives. It's a little bit different. It looks like they rearranged so the question comes on in J2E. It looks like this question was the first question. Why is it you need the crystals? Although he's actually being more vague in the original Japanese. Here we have, Your Majesty, we do not understand your motives. Also, he's upset here, but we don't see an upsetness here. Yeah. Okay, so if this was a translation course, there's enough here that's enough to mark it off, so I would mark that off. Okay, and naming when he says, "Forgive me, but what are Your Majesty's intentions?" Oh, I like that. Your Majesty's intentions. Because if you just say your intentions straight to the king, you're not being polite. Even in English, you probably aren't being polite. When men are confused and displeased. They're confused. Okay, so I'll say that they're confused. I'll go with this. But I could theoretically drop a point on Namingway there. Okay, the old J2E to the new one says, it looks like it's just a bunch of, there's a lot, I forgot this is a long, okay, so let's get back. King of Baron says, "Omae o hajime to shite ka?" So are you the first to harbor suspicions of me? And it's like disobeying me. Oh, okay. So the J2E seems to have added this whole point. Was it because the Mysidians were becoming a threat? Then why didn't they resist? This part isn't in the Japanese text, from what I can tell. Oh, this is a long time. Okay, yeah, so J2E adds stuff in there. Let's drop that out. It loses a point. We do... Alright, so the line that the Baron King just says is like now pointing a finger directly at Cecil. And oh man, this J2E one is so full of extra things. All right, my brain's starting to die. All right, so we'll just continue here. Cecil now just does an exclamation mark, and then keshite sono yona, and it's basically saying no, nothing of the sort, nothing of the sort. No, I don't. Is what that became in Super NES. All right, this whole point, yeah, this J2E's added more. To think that I took you in and raised you like a son. Now you can't even trust me. I don't think that's in the original text there. So, well, first let's take a point off on that. And let's get moving. Okay, Baron King now says, Watashi ga nani mo shiranu to demo omotteru ka? Do you think I don't know anything? Again, we have the we. We do know of your discontent, Cecil. That's kind of a neat. If it's a royal we, that's really neat. But he's like really like Phoenix Wright level, like bashing Cecil right now, probably pointing at him or something. Like I don't think he's like pointing, but emotionally it feels like he's really getting on Cecil's case here. To think, man, J2E's weirdness is like throwing me out of my game here. You take me for a fool, Cecil? Oh, that's pretty good. Watashi ga nani mo shiranu to demo omotteru ka? You take me for a fool, Cecil. That's pretty good. I kind of like that. We do know your discontent. All right, so let's continue. Omae hodo no mono ga watashi o shinmai shite kurenu to wa na. To think someone of your caliber would not have trust in me. If you cannot trust me, it looks like this part just became, if you cannot trust me, now you can't even trust me. It became in J2E. After all I've done for you, doesn't seem to be what's going on here, so I'm going to take that off. This wounds me. I cannot place my trust in one who offers none in return. Yeah, so it feels like a lot of this is kind of like, would definitely get marked off in the translation course, and it seems they're sort of filling in the blanks, kind of like what J2E did about this part with the king raising Cecil, which is the case, but it's not reflected yet. It's not divulged yet. Okay, the king is still saying, Zannen da ga kore ijo omae ni akai tsuwasa o makasete wa oken. And this is saying, unfortunately, I can no longer leave you in charge of the Red Wings. I can no longer place the Red Wings in your command. I can no longer entrust you with the command of the Red Wings. There's an unfortunately in here, the Zannen daga. Like it feels like a boss who's just like wants to get rid of you anyway. And so that unfortunately isn't really unfortunately. That's sort of the nuances I'm reading pretty deep into it. Okay. Yeah, okay, they did that. Ima yori hikute butaicho no ni no toku. So I hereby relieve you of your duty as the head of the airship unit. What do we call that? Airship squad. I hereby relieve that duty. You are dismissed from your post. I can no longer trust you with commands of the Red Wings. As of now, you are relieved of your post. I hereby relieve you of command of the Red Wings. All right, so my overall feeling is that a lot of the nuances are being like pushed around by additions and also punctuation changes. And a lot of the nuances might also just be being lost in translation just because of the different speaking styles that everyone's doing to each other. Like while we speak up to the king, he's speaking pretty hard down at us. And then we saw some of the speech styles changing back and forth. Okay. Music. Hooray. Okay. Cecil saying, Heika, Your Majesty. What was this before? Your Majesty. Oh, we saw that before. Right. The king is now saying, Kawatte, Genju Tobatsu no ni nitsuke. So instead, I put you or go in charge of the Genju subjugation. So Genju is what we call like the summons. There's in the Eidolons and in Super NES they call them the summon monsters. They're called Genju. I don't even know if it will show up on here. But if you're curious about Genju, I've written a lot about it already on legendsoflocalization.com when I did the Final Fantasy VI translation comparison. Right. Here they call them the Phantom Beasts. Yeah, Phantom Beast was a common one with fan translators back in the day, because the Gen is kind of like illusory, or something like that. And Ju is a beast, or an animal, maybe a monster. Does it show up here as monster? Yeah, beast there. I now charge you with a new task. I would have liked the word instead to be here, but I won't take a point off of it. And you got new here. Yeah, it would be nice if there was like, instead, go and hunt. Or in place of your old job, do that. Okay, 変わってgenju to watsu no ni ni tsuke. ミストの谷に付近のに幻の魔物genjuが出没するそうだ。It's saying in the area of Mist Valley, the like mystical, how do they translate it here? Like, yeah, phantom, vision, illusionary dream. So kind of like the very rare monster genju, the summons will appear apparently. So it's hearsay. He's giving hearsay. I hear that these monsters are appearing. So we can see a lot as kind of like compressed for the Super NES, which makes sense. Your new charge is to eliminate the phantom beasts that haunt the upper valley. So everything got kind of condensed here. I now charge you with a new task: slay the Eidolon that infests Mist Valley. And okay, so it looks like there's going to be more here about the package, but the J2E is missing it for some reason. Unless they're going to add it, but since they're missing it, we're going to take that out now. その魔物を倒し、ミストの村へこのボムの指輪を届けるのだ。So defeat that monster and deliver this bomb ring to Mist Village. Take this, so the bomb is literally bomb. Let me see. Bomb ring to, yeah, so bomb ring became just a package. J2E didn't even do it, so we took off a point earlier. And then the Namingway follows what I think the DS translation did, or was it the GBA translation did? And went called the bomb ring to make it not so obvious that this is a explosive device that's going to explode. They changed it to carnelian signet. And I don't have a thing here, but those are kind of like a, if you look in the sources and reference materials, you'll find words that match. It's kind of a common thing when a very basic word in one language is too stupid and basic in another language. It's like too oversimplified. It's like you're hitting them on the head with it, to try to tweak the phrasing to sort of match what was intended. So I think that's what they're doing here. Namingway is pulling from a different translation here, basically. So it calls it the package. We'll mark that off because that is like, you know, if you did that in a translation class, they would mark that off. So the DS was probably the carnelian signet. Okay. Shuppatsu wa asu no asa da. So the departure is tomorrow morning. You may depart tomorrow morning. This is also taken away from there. Should I take a point from this because there's like another line that was also missing? Alright, let's do that. Are we gonna even get... I wanted to get Rydia before I end the stream, but I've been streaming for about an hour and a half now. I don't know if we're gonna get there. I would like to at least destroy Mist Village before we stop. Now Kain, his name is pronounced Kain, it says Omachi kudasai, and he's saying them politely, please wait. Here, I'll just take that off because that's not what he's saying. Please wait is what he's saying in J2E here. I'll be even-handed here with SNES and J2E. It's okay to... It's technically not wrong, and it's probably okay. But he's trying to stop what's happening. Okay, so Kain is now saying, Cecil wa sonna ... And this is an incomplete sentence, and he's basically saying Cecil wasn't trying to do something like that, or the Sona is like that, or such. So Cecil ... like that. So whenever you get incomplete sentences like this, it will be difficult. Cecil meant no harm. This has the translator, or I guess translators in quotes here, filling in the blanks that are left by the ... Oh, that's weird. I don't know what the deal is there. So this is a weird line. Son ... is always kind of hard to translate well. And here the king of Baron is saying, Kain, koyatsu no koto ga shinpai nara omae mo Cecil to tomo ni yuke. And he's saying, Kain, if you're worried about this guy, then you go with Cecil too. But he's kind of pretty rude about it and forceful. He's kind of dismissing Cecil pretty strongly a little bit. If you're concerned about Cecil that much, go with him, Kain. That's pretty good, actually. I kind of like that. I'm gonna add a point. I kind of like that one. Kain, if you're so worried about Cecil, then go with him. All right, that's pretty okay. Kain, if you're so concerned about Cecil, you can accompany with him. This can has a different nuance. It brings a little bit of a different nuance. It's more of a just direct, straight up order. That's why I like this go, then go, but it's acceptable. Okay, now Cecil says, Your Majesty, Your Majesty. Cecil now says, but Your Majesty, Your Majesty. And the king is now saying, Mo hanasu koto wa nai. There's nothing more to say. Sono yubi wa omochi saru ga yoi. So take that ring and be gone, or leave. He says it in kind of a fancy way, so I'd say be gone maybe, or be off, be away with you. Now, leave with the package. So I don't think it's fair for every time it'll say package to take a point off, so I won't do that. I have nothing more to say here. I have nothing more to say here. Take this ring and go. Take the ring and be gone. It's missing this line though. Mo hanasu koto wa nai. There's nothing more to say, so I'm gonna take a point off for Namingway. Okay. Bomu no yubi wa teiniireta. So we've obtained the bomb ring. Received the package, received the bomb ring. It looks like there's some formatting that they put in here. Got the bomb ring is what it used to say. Received C signet. Okay, I need to get a drink of water. Your Majesty. I guess if you don't know Japanese and you don't know translation and all this stuff is just kind of crazy, what I would like you to do is at least just take like one word and try to learn that word for stream. So if you're like, Your Majesty, Heika, hey, Heika. I hear that a lot in like Japanese entertainment, especially the Final Fantasies. I wonder if these are just like all the same line. Yay, we're out of the throne room. We'll be back in about 20 years. Alright, Cecil's now saying, Sumanai Kain, Sumanai Kain, Omae Made. And he's now speaking in like a plain register, like on a level playing field with Kain. So that he's not talking up or down, he's just talking like they're equals. So he's saying, I'm sorry, Kain, that you. So he's kind of just implying that I dragged you into this too. I didn't mean to drag you into this too. We have that turn flag on. Okay. Sorry, Kain. It became in the SNES. That's that part. Sorry for getting you mixed up in all this, Kain. So, the part about even you, I got even you dragged into this, is missing from the Super NES. So I'm gonna take a point off there. And we can see that the J2E maintains that. On the same note, it looks like Namingway also doesn't include the I dragged you into this too nuance, so I'm going to take a point off on Namingway. Over here, let's look at that. Not a whole lot happened in the J2E change, but it looks like His Majesty used to be just the king. Although King capitalized like that is weird in that situation. Right. Now Kain is now going to speak. その厳重とやらを倒せば陛下も許してくださる. Now he's speaking politely about the king, saying, if we defeat that Genju, that summon monster or whatever it's called, then His Majesty will be lenient or forgive us or show lenience. How does this thing translate? Yurusu. Permit, allow, approve, excuse, pardon, forgive, release, confide, yield. There's a lot of stuff in Yurusu. But basically, we'll be back on good terms. He'll put you back in command of the Red Wings after this mission. There's a lot of details missing from this. Like the point about killing specifically the monster. It's important that we keep pointing out that there's monsters, and the king specifically one of these monsters did. So making it vague about missions and commands, it kind of takes away from what is about to happen. It's like taking away a bit from the setup. Once you defeat those phantom beasts, there's a little bit of a nuance here from this Toyara where he's not really sure about what he's talking about, these phantom beast things. I guess I would probably, once you defeat those phantom beast things, that would be a little closer in nuance. He'll surely forgive you. Don't worry, you'll be back in command. Alright, so it looks like Namingway doesn't get the nuances on this. Don't worry, you'll be back in command of the Red Wings in no time. That's not a good translation of what the Japanese text is here. Even though it's sort of, it gets you through the game. Mata akai tsubasa ni modoreru sa. You'll be able to return to the Red Wings. Heika-sama? What happens when you say Heika-sama? I don't know. I don't think I've heard that. Okay, so you'll be back in the Red Wings. You'll be put back. And you'll be reinstated as commander. He technically doesn't say as commander, but that's okay. You'll be back in command of the Red Wings in no time. That's actually, I kind of do like this. In no time, it has this snappiness, casualness that I get from the saw here. I like it. Does it express it here? Yeah, you get like a sentence ending mainly masculine indicates assertion. Come now. Something like that. So I kind of like that. So I probably have messed up because I already forget my points. Alright, so now Cecil goes ... Do we have a ... Yeah, we got a ... Alright, so we can see that the Super NES adds a but for the ... and then also that but is found in Namingway. Namingway adds the but. I don't care. If in a translation test, the teacher might just be like, I don't know where you got that, but okay. Alright, Kain now says, Kini Sudana, don't worry about it. Like, or never mind, that's fine. I don't really get that Kini Sudanov from the J2E, so I'm going to take a point off on that. And I don't get it from the Namingway. So in this case, that Kini Sudana is only reflected decently in Super NES. Junbi wa ore ni makasete, konya wa yukuri yasume. So leave the preparations to me and rest well tonight. Or sleep well tonight or something like that. In Super NES it says, go back to your room and take a rest. Walk in all directions. Okay, yeah, so this part is added. So J2E says, leave all the preparations to me and go get some rest. Here we have Kain saying, just say, get some rest. So the whole point about preparations and don't worries, the Namingway has compacted everything, I think, and so some of that is missing. So the Super NES version adds this point about the control pad and talk to everyone. This was added in. This whole section was added in for the Super NES translation so that new players would understand how to play this game. And you can see the same addition in the easy type script. All is blue text. This was all added for easy type. And the whole point about leave the preparations to me, rest well tonight, that was replaced. That was removed. So the easy type and the Super NES translation parallel each other here. That's kind of interesting. How am I doing? My brain is going in 800 directions, so I'm very tired and I'm barely started this game. Alright, here's where the actual game starts. The cutscene is over. We can go anywhere we want and do whatever we want. So we're gonna not go anywhere, and we're gonna look quickly at this stuff. So we can go to the item menu and look at stuff. As we can see, the bomb ring became the package in Super NES. It became still the bomb ring in J2E. The J2E, as we can see, adds new things. So here it adds a description of deliver this bomb ring to Mist. And you can see that this was added in the new translation, the newer translation. It wasn't always that way. It was just bomb ring. And we can see the C signet and the Namingway. It doesn't have a description added for it. Let's stick that over here for now. Actually, I'm gonna stick it over here because we don't need it. No magic for him. Alright, let's do some talking. At this point, I don't know when I'm going to stop streaming. Okay. This guard now says, Heika ni tsuite, iroiro iwarete imasu ka? Heika no mimi ni demo haitara. A lot is being said about His Majesty, but should any of it enter His Majesty's ears, ... That's kind of how this is going. And then Super NES, if the king hears people talk about him like this, he'll be angry. Okay, so we can see the ... was preserved in the J2E, while the Super NES and the Namingway add like intensity, adds intensity through an exclamation mark here. Okay, a lot of things are being said about His Majesty, but if he hears about it, yeah, so this is pretty close to the original Japanese here, and it had some formatting changes. If the king hears people slandering him, he'll be furious. So this is like spells everything out, this Namingway. This is like a common translation phenomenon, I guess, maybe especially with people who work with a translation but aren't translations themselves, like when I would do my subtitle translations for Funimation and others. My translation would be used on the subtitles, but it would also go end up being used by the voice actors and the voice directors and stuff like that. Sometimes it would go back to Japan and they would do stuff with it, but those, like the dub editors and the dub directors, they'll take what you write and put it in their hand and like grip it real hard and mess with it, and then it becomes something resembling the original, but it's also just got something different and new. It's like a completely new shape. Like if you took a piece of clay and you squished it hard in your hand. That's how this Namingway feels to me. It's pretty common with non-translators, so this is kind of basically spelling everything out is what I'm talking about. If the king hears people will be slandering him, he'll be furious. I think all the nuances get wrecked on that, so. 命が惜しければ変なことを考えにならないことです. So he's being very polite to us. You know those things when you want to be mean or a jerk, and you'll actually speak up to them? That's kind of what's happening right now. He's saying if you value your life, you won't think of anything, you won't think of any funny business, or you won't have any weird thoughts. And the Super NES just says treasure your life. And okay, that's not what's being said. Okay, so we have someone asking, would you ever consider doing a Legends localization for FF4, considering there are big differences between FF4, Easy, and US? So I'm not sure what you mean. Do you mean the book? If you go to my Legends of Localization site, like one of the oldest running series is Final Fantasy IV. It is. I've been doing it since 2011. Right. So we have a J2E saying, if you value your life, then you shouldn't start getting ideas. I wouldn't say shouldn't, I would say don't start getting ideas. And also it's kind of missing the nuance a little bit of the polite talking up to us. but that's pretty common. It's pretty common for those sort of nuances to just not convey well in any translation. And the Namingway says, if you value your life, then don't start getting any ideas. It seems like maybe that just came from my site. A book. Oh man, so a book of FF4. I've done so much FF4, I don't know what I would put in an FF4 book. But if I can think of something fun, maybe. Oh, let's not go there yet. There's a lot of talking over there. Okay, this soldier is saying, Watashi wa heiko o shinjite imasu. He's saying, I believe, or I have faith, or I have trust in His Majesty. And we see in the Super NES, I have faith in His Majesty. J2E has, I believe in His Majesty. And Namingway says, I have faith in the King. Saying King instead of His Majesty is fine. Although, kind of, if you were to try to translate that back, you might not get Heika back, but you might get Ol-sama or something like that. That's all pretty good stuff. All of those pretty straightforward. Alright, this other soldier is now saying, Saikin no heika kara wa iyo na fuiniki o kanjiru no desu ga. And that's saying, lately I've been sensing an odd atmosphere, an odd air from His Majesty. Like something's been feeling odd about him. Like he's giving off a strange air. And because of the fancy phrasing in Japanese, for the easy type, they changed it from iyo na fuiniki to myo na fuiniki. And then they put a space in there too to help maybe younger readers who might have trouble with that word. Here we're in Super NES, we have I feel something strange about the King lately. It should be a ... for some of the nuance there, but and also this King should probably be lowercase. But it's not too bad. J2E has I felt a strange atmosphere about the King lately. That's kind of what I just said, so it's not too bad. King seems off lately. Yeah, that's kind of getting more direct, compact to what's being said, and it has the ... which shows like some hesitation or something. These all seem pretty good. I like them. I would love like the dots there, but okay. Wow. Alright, now we're gonna go over here and we'll talk to Kain last. There's some details in Kain's text. Okay, this soldier now says, Misto no tani ni wa baron yori hokusei. So, the Mist Valley, the Valley of Mist, is northwest of Baron. Okay, what do we got? Okay, we'll just read the second line. Itsumo fukai kiri ga tachikomete desu desu. I hear that there's always a thick fog about it, around it. Tachikomeru, how do we hang over and shroud, envelope. Alright, we can see that the Super NES version misses the second line, so we'll skip that. We'll drop a point on that. It just says the Misty Valley is in the northwest. And then J2E says the village of Mist is northwest of Baron. It's said to always be enshrouded in a deep envelope of fog. Here we can see, in English again, we don't like to duplicate, or we don't like to repeat our words, so we don't like, maybe they didn't like using the word mist here and mist here again. But that's okay. And we see that the Namingway also is missing the second line, much like the Super NES line, so we'll take a point off on there. Right now, J2E is slightly in the lead, according to this very informal and messed up rating scale I have going. Yeah, so a big thing in translation is ellipses, especially Japanese to English translation. The Japanese writers, they love to put ellipses everywhere. Sometimes they'll be really ridiculous. Like I can show you some examples in the future stream, but it's just ridiculous ellipses. And so there's a school of thought that's pretty common is to just take those out in English. But sometimes it feels like they put those in there for a reason, and if you just crush them like flowers, you lose that whatever implications might be there, even if it looks ugly and weird to us sometimes. I'm kind of used to it, but even I will take like, maybe like, sometimes there'll be like 10 dots in a row, 10 ellipses in a row, and even then I would just like dot it to 3, just 3. It gets kind of crazy. Alright, so this dude is saying, Waga ryukshitai no Kain-san to akai tsubasa no Cecil-san ga kumeba kowai mono nashi desho. And that's saying if Kain-san, we don't need to do honorifics, but Kain, if Kain from our Dragon unit, or Dragon Knight unit, and Cecil from the Red Wings were to team up, there's nothing to fear. That's like the kind of literal translation of what's going on. Like kowai mono nashi is an idiom that can be translated in multiple ways. So we'll see how that would be. There would be no match, undefeated, unbeatable. Alright, so Super NES says if our Dragoon Kain and Cecil of the Red Wings join forces, there would be no match. So that's pretty good. I like that. If the Dragon Knight captain actually isn't in here, even though he is the captain, technically. So, captain, okay, and Sir Cecil team up. Oh, but he's supposed to be, I think someone might be home. I think Poe might be home. Sir Cecil, the fact that he's of the Red Wings is not mentioned here. That detail is missing. But I'm okay. I'm not going to count off on that. With you and Sir Kain teaming up, none can stop you. So what's happening here is, in Japanese, it's common to speak to someone when you're speaking to someone like face to face. You will still sometimes speak to them in the third person in Japanese. So instead of saying the word you and yours and you, but this guy would probably be like Cecil-san. Just keep repeating his name over. And so because of that, you can sometimes condense things down. So this is a proper idea. It's missing a lot of details in the Namingway, so I'll drop that. But I understand it, and it's pretty okay. Oh, a lot of change in this J2E though. They translated Kowai mono nashi to they will be invincible. And then in the modern one, they changed that to that ring has guaranteed delivery. Yeah, they're not even talking about the ring, so I'm gonna take that. Wait, is that the new one or the old one? No, that's the new one. Alright, so we'll take one off. J2E. Alright. Alright, so in Japanese writing and in Japanese entertainment, they really like to put pauses in things and let things like sit for a second. Sometimes you'll see people write about this and they'll write about it as something called ma, M-A, maybe with a dash over the A. Sometimes you'll see people kind of exotify that. Just they want to make things have pauses. They're more into those pauses than maybe we are. I'm not sure. Okay, so now we're talking to Kain, and Kain is now like doshita, and that's kind of like what's up, or what's the matter, what's wrong. We have what's wrong for all three of these. Now Cecil says sumanakata Kain. I'm sorry, Kain. ... Again, he's hesitant about everything that's been going on. Kain. And then Cecil here now says, I'm sorry for dragging you into this. So there's a little bit of added details here. But I mean, the ... When you have ... sometimes there's implications, and that's sort of the implication. Oh no. Uh-oh, Poe's here. Yeah, it's gonna be, I'm barely into the game full. This is gonna take 100 years. Hello everyone, Poe's here. I'm gonna have to take a break soon, actually. Oh yeah, thanks for turning that off. There was like a whole point where there was no audio, like just no music for like an hour. Alright, let me continue. Okay, so now Kain is saying, Mada sonna koto iteru no ka. You're still saying stuff like that? And that became, oh, stop that, in Super NES. That's pretty good. I like it. Why are you still apologizing? They say in J2E? That's getting to the heart of what's being said. That's fine. Okay, yeah, so Kain doesn't have the part where, like, you're still on that? Still talking about that stuff? So that's missing from the Namingway here. The next part says, Omae rashiku mo nai. It's not even like you. That's what that is. That's missing in the Super NES, so... Why are you still apologizing? I defended you out of my own free will, says the J2E version. But that's not in here. Oh, this part is gonna have a lot. Oh my gosh. So look at the Super NES. Look at that translation. Now look at the J2E translation. Look at this J2E translation. They're writing a whole new play inside of this. I came to your defense by my own free will. Okay, so this part about it's not even like you, omae rashiku mo nai, is not conveyed in SNES. Hopefully I did that okay. It's not in J2E, and it's not in the Namingway. Okay, so now Cecil is saying, Boku wa heika no meide de ankoku ken o kiwameta. So I mastered the dark sword at His Majesty's orders. Well, what's going on here anyway? What's changed here? Okay, looks like some text change happened for easy type slightly. We'll get to that in an hour. I mastered the dark sword as commanded by His Majesty. Okay, that's intact. Oh boy, yeah. So it looks like new. I mean, it's not surprising, but there's a bunch of new J2E text in here. Alright, so I learned the art of the dark sword as ordered by His Majesty. Okay, so that's in here. But it was less learned and mastered. Like, he's gotten real good at it. Let me find it here. Kiwameta. Yeah, carry to extremes, to go to the end of something, to investigate thoroughly, to master. So it's not just learn. Like, you can learn a skill without mastering it. The fact that he's a master is pretty cool. Alright, so something about I envy you, Kain. Okay, so the Namingway has I envy you, Kain, but that's not here. I'm gonna take a point off on that. I didn't see that. There, okay. Demo, sore wa Baron o mamoru tame de sumi mo nai hitobito kara ryakudatsu o... Uh-oh, it's gonna cross... Let me get over here. Okay, but that was to protect Baron and to prevent probably it from being... innocent people from being... Okay, let me just look at it. Let me just, not instead of guessing, I'll look at it. Okay. But it was to protect Baron, not to pillage from innocent people. But it was to protect Baron and not to pillage from innocent people. But it was to defend and not to rob. We can see it condensed down here. I think the point gets pretty clear there, even though it's pretty shaded down. Ooh, I do like... Where is it? Okay. J2E says, but it should have been to defend the Baron and not to harm innocent people. So I really like this, and should have been... I like this because it matches with the Hazuda in the Japanese grammar here. So actually I kind of like that. I'm going to give J2E a point on that one. It's intact and keeps a bit of the grammar in there. The NVU Kain. I mastered the dark sword to please His Majesty. But out of my desire to protect, not to destroy. To please His Majesty. I don't think that was in there. All right, I'm gonna overlook that one because it's like partially combined with another line there. So you can see how slow this is, and then it's gonna take a long time, many streams to do this. And that's why there's so many pages of this on legendsoflocalization.com, and also why it's taken me so long. I consider it like just a fun hobby that I will just like revisit every so often, so that's why it's taken so long. Alright. Oh my gosh, J2E. As I recall, the PlayStation 1 translation makes this part sound like they're college frat bros chatting with each other. And they're like betting like 500 gil, I slayed that monster for you. You're on. Alright. Let's continue. Alright. So now we're going to Kain's here. そんなに自分を責めるな. Don't blame yourself that much. Don't blame yourself so much. Do not blame yourself. Okay, so J2E added a thing here about maybe apologizing will help clear my conscience, and that's an addition. That's in like a story edition. They really wanted to like fill in the blanks with pieces of story that they liked, I guess. I'm not really sure why they would add in all this stuff. Okay, here Kain says, I understand you're wanting to be in His Majesty's good graces. Okay, so it looks like some text might have got added. Because I see it here. Right, he's saying don't... Okay, yeah, so... The part about don't blame yourself doesn't seem to be in here. In Namingway. If I'm wrong, then that's my mistake. Okay, so Kain then goes on to say, Heika ni mo o kangae ga atte no koto da. And is saying that His Majesty has his own ideas or thoughts going on. His Majesty must have his own reason. That's pretty good. I'm sure the king has a good reason for his actions. Okay. Anyway, His Majesty must have his reasons. Okay, I'm okay with all of these. And then Cecil now says, Kain, oh my god, urayamashi yo. Okay, so here's where he's saying he's envious. Oh. Okay, so the Super NES line is now missing this part about envy. So I'm going to take that out. The points. I'm sure the king has a good reason for his actions. Okay, it looks like they added in this part in J2E. He raised us as his own sons. He would never do anything less than honorable. This again is an addition. It is true that he raised them, and we'll find that out later, but not yet. Okay, and here's the Kain. I envy your faith in His Majesty. I guess they were reading into what he is envious of, and that it's the faith in His Majesty. It's left for the reader to guess, and I guess it's probably fine. Oh, post coming in. No. Alright. Let's see. So I'm looking here for the envy part. Is the envy part in here? Oh, I envy you, Kain. Okay, so it was up here. I won't take any points off that. Okay. Okay, Kain now says, Ore no chichi mo yukishi datta. My father was also a dragon knight. And okay, that's missing from Super NES again. Like, see, like, it's like nothing more. We've hit the end here. Oh no, J2E, you keep adding things. Alright, he spoke of your father, ... He had the same unwavering loyalty, ... And then Kain says, my father, ... My father was a dragon knight as well, ... So there were some additions in there. Hopefully I already discounted the points on that. Where are you talking about your father here? So he's saying, I became a dragoon to feel closer to my late father. Something's weird here. Like, it feels like they're adding lore in there. Like, that was the reason I did it, but it's not listed in there. Actually, let me put that back, because I think he's about to. Alright, so let me continue. Ankokuken no kiwamereba kaikyu mo agaru darou ga, ore ni wa kochi no hou ga... Uh-oh. This is a window... Oops, sorry. This is a window breaker. Okay. So for you, if you mastering the dark sword would probably increase in rank, but this suits me better. This suits my personality better. Oh my gosh, I'm starting to lose it.
Should I leave?
I don't know.
More distracting.
Maybe, but there's also just so much going on here. I want us to skip this stupid line. Because they added so much. Can we just say that they added a lot?
They added too much.
Look at this. We have to go through all this. Alright, His Majesty must have his reasons. Alright, so he's saying that I would go up in rank. I'd probably go up in rank if I mastered the Dark Sword, but this suits me better. Okay, I don't know what's going on with the J2E here, but it doesn't seem right. You have rank and prestige over me, but tomorrow we'll see who's better. That's not what's saying. He's saying that I could have been a Dark Sword guy, but it suited me better to be a Dragon Knight. And それに有機士でいれば幼い頃死に別れた父をいつでも感じられる気がしてな。Plus, I get the feeling that I can always feel my late father, or my father who died when I was young, when I'm a Dragon Knight. So you got to rearrange all the words I just said and make that into a sentence. Okay, yeah, so J2E doesn't have that, but since they added so much, let's just say they did. Here we have kind of all condensed. I became a dragoon to feel closer to my late father. That's fine. And then Cecil goes ... Got the ... Don't got anything there. I often we have J2E adding everything. Alright, however, I felt it was my duty to honor my father and follow in his path. He died while I was still a child. Sometimes I wish he could see me today. I hope he would be proud. I often have these moments of quiet reflection when I can feel his spirit within me, guiding me. So that was all that. So part of it was in there, but which wasn't, so... Alright, did we get the ... Okay, so there's no Cecil doing the ... here, right? I'm gonna take that out. Alright, so now Kain is going... Rashikunai hanashi o shite shimatta na. And he's going, hey, I told a story that's not very much like me, or something like that. That's not very like me to be telling a story like that. Alright, here we have it in J2E. It's not in the Super NES, and it doesn't seem to be in the Namingway. Sorry I have rambled on like that. That's not like me, is what Kain says, and that's correct here. Yeah, they had all those insertions were there from the very early days. It looks like the old, I can't be sure, but I get the feeling that maybe the old J2E might have been slightly based on the PlayStation 1, but that doesn't make sense to me. The timing doesn't seem to fit. Alright, so here we go. Not like me, not like me. Okay. Tomokaku kangai sugiru na. At any rate, don't overthink it. Don't think too much. So he's telling us, yeah, I wouldn't worry about too much about it today. Alright, so it's not NG, not in Namingway either. And it's in the J2E. Omae ga sonnan ja hariai ga nai. Oh, this one will be. Oh, wait. Okay, yeah, so the part where he's saying that's not very like me to tell a story like that. They just rephrased it a little easier so people would understand what's being said. Yeah, for the easy type. Where am I? Tomokaku hariai ga nai. Okay. With you like that, it's like not very. There's not strong competition without you. Or with you messed up like this, it's not very good for competition. Something in those lines. My brain is fading, so I'm sorry. Cecil is now saying, "Boku mo make wa shinai." I'm not gonna lose either. Okay, take that really should be worrying about tomorrow. You did what the king wanted and became a dark knight. You have rank and prestige over me, but tomorrow we'll see who's better. Oh wait, I missed a line. Genju o taosu no ore dazo. I'm the one who will defeat the Genju, the summoned monster. Oh, I'm getting so lost now. But it feels like Namingway is out on that one. Boku mo moke wa shinai. I won't lose. Is that in here in the J2E at all? Like where Cecil's like, you can't beat me.
Yes.
Okay. So I see the don't you worry kind of fits the nuance and the vibe and the speech. Right. So now Kain says, Asu wa hayai, hayaku yasume. Tomorrow will be early, hurry and rest. That's how this comes out. Super NES is just like dying over here. We must get an early start tomorrow. Go get some rest. Okay, that's pretty good. Now go get some sleep, or do you plan on having me do all the work tomorrow? It looks like it tried to combine a couple sentences into this one, try to crush them all down to fit into the space. I should mention that while doing this, it took me 2 months to program all this and hook it all together. I did have to learn how to hook FF4 and FF2, their differences together, in easy type. And in doing so, I noticed that Namingway was having maybe some storage issues, and so they moved some text to different text banks. And so because they were having text storage, it makes sense that we'll see like stuff kind of crammed down like this. Oh my gosh, we're out of this room. I've been streaming for 2 hours now. I'm sorry, I don't think we're gonna make it far today. Alright. We're gonna get out of Baron and then we're done. Okay. ... I wasn't sleeping. You're saying, oh. Nete nanka imasen yo. And I'm saying, I'm not sleeping or anything at all. I'm not sleeping, I'm awake. Mishiria kara cristaro motte kita sou desu ne. I heard you brought the crystal from Mysidia. And we have heard you brought back the crystal of water from Mysidia. So we can see that the crystal of water, they keep adding the water in at this point in the Super NES translation. If this was a translation course or something and you just suddenly started adding details in out of nowhere, the translation teacher would probably be like, what the heck? But it doesn't matter in this case too much. You can see that J2E also adds the crystal of water. Something changed here. Oh, they added water in the latest patch. So they added, for some reason. And then Namingway says, heard you brought back the crystal. But it's missing it from Mysidia, which is a detail. Translator teacher would probably mark that off, right? Or just be like, finish the sentence.
Well,
I'm just do it.
yeah, I think Mysidia is important.
Yeah, again, I think this isn't like it's not a translator. It was someone who kind of just picked and pulled from all the different translations. Someone who's not a translator. But I can see them like struggling for text space on there. So.
That could be why. You gotta read all these.
What should I do, you guys? I kind of just want to stop and eat. Stop and eat and sleep. I was hoping we would be like so far. Alright, this is the Black Magic Research Room, Study Room. Okay, Suripuru. And just like in Dragon Quest, the spells in Final Fantasy are kind of like nonsensical, slightly. So they're not meant to be like actual full words. They're meant to be like deviations of words that we know, but we don't care about that apparently in our translations, so we'll just do sleep. Sleepuru is what it actually is. Are they? Nemuku nai? You're not sleepy? Kashi na. That's weird. Alright. So sleep, sweet dreams. Oh, you're not sleepy? Yeah, the nuance on that is like, he's more like, that's weird, that's not working out. Why isn't that working? That's odd. Okay, so I feel like the Super NES one misses the, that's odd.
Yeah.
But the J2E has it. So right now we have J2E winning, despite all this additions and weird things. I am sleepy. This guy's put a spell on me. Alright, here we have another guy. He's going Hayaku Jisen ni yakudatsu yo kenku no saichu desu. So we're in the middle of researching, or I'm in the middle of, could be we or us or me or I. We're in the middle of researching so that stuff will be useful. I will be useful in the field. Yeah, so we can be useful in battle. I don't know if they're trying to be useful in battle or if they're trying to have their magic be useful in battle, or if they're studying spells that can be useful in battle if they can be mastered. It's hard to understand the world of Final Fantasy IV's magic, especially with like Medio being somehow sealed away. I don't really understand that. Okay, I'm working on the use of magic spells in battles right now. This might be off because Jisen is like into practical practice, like practical use, actual combat, actual fighting. I'm not sure what the kanji is intended, but alright. We're researching so we can be useful in battle. So what's trying to be useful? Is it the magic or the people? And that's the thing that I'm not sure here. We're researching so we can be useful in battle. We're working on the use of battle magic. My brain is starting to fry here. I'm starting to get a little worried. Alright, here we go. A third black mage is going Fire Brizado Sanda no San no Kihon Maho Dake de wa te ni oenai mamono mo iru. Oops, that was all one sentence. Fire Brizado Sanda no Kihon Maho Dake de wa te ni oenai mamono mo iru. So there are some monsters that are not affected just by the basic magic of fire, blizzard, or thunder. Some monsters are immune to the basic spells such as fire, ice, and lit. Some monsters are immune. Teini oenai, something different than immune, or like, I don't care. Immune. Not so much immune, it's just more like they can't be dealt with well. Whoa. They're just tough, I guess. Too much to handle. Like there are tough monsters that won't just do those. Okay. So we can just see how fire is the English word fire in Japanese, and blizzard is burizado, and that's because it would probably be like burizado or burizado or something like that. But in Japanese, they love to condense everything down into 4 characters. So that's why you can see that. You can see there's 4 characters here, 4 characters there, 4 characters there, although technically that could be something else. But we just went with fire, ice, and lit. Fire, ice, and thunder. Fire and blizzard. What? They've missed one. Okay, you missed one, Namingway. You missed a spell. Now they're never going to defeat Odin underneath the castle. Okay. Yori kyoryoku na mahou ga katsute wa atta rashii no daga. They're saying, but apparently there used to be, in the old days, a long time ago, even more powerful magic or spells. ... Must be more to learn. No, so it's kind of hinting that there's like ancient magic that is powerful, and which sounds pretty cool, but you don't get that cool like, whoa. It seems that there was once more stronger magic than that. ...
A hint at it.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Must be more to learn, says Namingway, and we can see where that's coming from the Super NES translation, so I'll drop on that. So right now it looks like maybe the reliance of Namingway on the Super NES translation might be holding it back. But it could also just be the fact that the Namingway is based on the FF2 ROM, so it's just probably easier to just leave things in. I'm being very generous to Namingway right now, so I apologize if I'm being unfair. Yeah, it could be, instead of fire, it could have been something else. Okay, this is the white magic room. Is it okay with this space that we're going in?
Yeah?
Okay.
Should I go?
No, you're okay. Your presence is calming. Thank you. Alright. This one says, Rosa wa anata no chikara ni naritai to ite shiromadoshi no michi o eranda no yo. And this is saying in Japanese that Rosa chose the path of a white wizard because she said she wanted to be of help to you. She wanted to help you, so she chose the path of a white wizard. Like, that's very...
To help Cecil specifically?
Yeah. Anata no chikara, like your...
Okay.
So Rosa became white wizard to be of help. But that doesn't say to be you, or that it was a path that she followed. Like, when you choose a path, there's kind of like a definitiveness to it. Like, kind of you can't turn back so much.
Yeah, you can't do that one now.
So I'm going to take a point off on those details being lost here. J2E says Rosa wanted to help you, so she chose to become a white magician. Okay, so the path choosing thing isn't the same, but the choosing is okay, and I'm okay with that. So you can see wizard and magician are kind of the same word. Let me see if I can find it. Adoshi, sorcerer, wizard, mage. They're all sort of the same word in Japanese. Which one you want to use is really up to you, or if you're translating something as like a professional, the client will probably tell you what they prefer. But with fan translations, you don't have to worry. So looks like they went with magician. And then just formatting changes on the J2 either. Rosa became a white wizard to help you, Cecil. That's... I'm going to take one off on that. Okay. Amari Rosa ni shinpai kakenai de ne. So don't worry. Don't cause too much worry for Rosa, okay? Be nice to her. No, it's don't worry her, which is exactly what happens when we leave. She runs after us because we worried her. Take a point on that. Don't worry her. This Amari kind of would make me want to add, don't worry her too much. And Namingway is just missing that line. Alright. See, when it's not story like this, they're bite-sized, I can chomp through them real fast. And when I would do my work for Funimation, or sometimes I would do like work for 8.4, when you get to the NPCs and they're just like little bite-sized, those are fun to chomp through.
Yeah.
But when you get to the really heavy stuff, where you have like, you know, full cutscenes, it actually feels more like I was translating an anime because it's just a cutscene after cutscene. And I would always be like, oh, when I would get to those parts in the script where like Dracula spends 10 minutes talking non-stop or something. Alright, so this white wizard says, Saikin no heika wa izen ni mo mashite seimei ryoku ga minagirarete iru. So this one is saying, His Majesty lately is overflowing or flowing with the life force even more than he used to, or even more than before. So there's like a life vitality, I guess we would. How does this thing translate? Seimei ryoku, vitality or life force. So he's like has this much more vitality than before, and we can see how that became energetic. The nuance is kind of weird in this phrasing, but it's there, so I'm okay with that. His Majesty has recently been as energetic and robust as ever, full of life and vigor. But as ever, doesn't that mean that that's his normal state? Like if he's as hungry as he ever is, that means he's always hungry and he's that level of hungry now. So I think they misused English possibly here, or mistranslated. Full of life and vigor. It's picky, but I'm going to go with it. I'm going to take a point off on that. What do we have here anyway? Oh, just formatting? That's fine. The king's energetic lately, but something's amiss. Okay, it looks like they've combined these two sentences into one. So we'll look at that. Shikashi dokuka. That means, however, somewhere, ... or something in parentheses about him, ... Something is strange. I would be like...
That line plants a seed.
Yeah, it's like something's off. There's just something off about it. Yeah, there's something strange about him. Something is strange. Something's amiss. Okay, I'll go with all that. Uh-oh, Zuli's talking. Alright. we have some easy type stuff here. Okay, so this white wizard says Shouhou no Shiro Mahou Shouhou no Shiro Mahou o Kenkyū shiteiru tokoro desu. I am in the middle of researching basic white magic, white spells. Shiro Mahou Sandan Katsuyo. Kiaru da. Alright, so this is a lot of stuff. So, how do I even explain Sandan in Japanese? This is making a reference to a thing of Japanese grammar. Like, you know how we learn grammar and we have to kind of like do grammar diagrams and stuff in school and stuff like that. This is kind of like a thing that they learn in Japanese classes in, like, I don't know, middle school, high school. The Sandan Katsuyo of grammar. There's no good equivalent in English, so the 3 C's is a really good one. The 3 C's, I really like that. I don't know where this comes from, but it's really good. So I'm gonna give Namingway a point for its 3 C's.
You think because Namingway had to condense their text?
Maybe, but also just because this isn't really easily, like, it's not even in here, but it's referring to that Japanese grammar thing. And of course that's not going to make it into the Super NES. I don't think I even talked about this on the site. Alright, so here he's saying, I'm studying the basics. Technically, I'm learning the basics of white magic. But we're in the white magic room. I'll give the point on this. I won't deduct. I learned Cure 1 in my last class. So this doesn't reflect the original text at all. And this one is just like a simplified version of the original text. So this is what we might call a localization, maybe. But it makes sense because it's like a Japanese grammar thing. I'm okay with this. I'm alright with it. I'm studying the basics of white magic. I can cast 3 levels of white magic. Cure 2, and Cure 3. Studying the basics of white magic is fine. I can cast 3 levels of white magic. I don't think they understood that this was like a grammar-y joke. Japanese grammar joke, maybe. So it's just like listing 3 spells, like, for some reason. Oh, that also is formatting. Well, yeah, okay. Well, we'll get to it.
Well, change the name.
So in Japanese, the words that we know as for cure, the cure spells, in all of Final Fantasies, it will be ke-a-ru, kiaru. If anything, that's probably closer to the word for care than cure. But like I said, a lot of these words, they're not meant to be just straight up English words. They're like deviations of words. So I don't know how you want to deal with that. Just translating it as cure makes it immediately accessible, especially even for non-gamers. So like cure, okay, that probably does something with.
I think that's smart for games.
And then in Super NES version, they did Cure 1. You can see they're building up. So this is the 3 C's, right? This is like the three C's of Cure. So we have Kiaru, which is the basic, and Kiaru Da, which is the second one, the second strongest one. That's often called Kira now in modern translations, to go with that Da. And then Kiaru Da became Kira Ga. So the thing is, I don't think they had settled on how they want their spells to sound yet. Or this could be. There's actually a 4th spell. I don't remember what they're all called. There's 4 cure spells. Kiaru Ja, maybe? Is it? I don't know.
Yeah.
Oh, what are people saying in here?
Well, they said cure.
Ja is the 4th suffix?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, anyways, I'm getting a little lost here. But anyway, so the spell names that you know in English, know that they're kind of weird in Japanese. They've always been weird in Japanese because it's like a flower, it's like a decoration. And just like the weird names of spells in Dragon Quest, where they kind of don't make sense, they've always struggled with how to handle those in Dragon Quest translations. With Final Fantasy, they kind of chose on this at some point. Alright, where am I taking this? I'm studying the 3 C's of white magic. I already gave points on that. They missed the grammar on that, and I think that was just formatting, right? Oh yeah, they got the KL2 and KL3. That's why it's like this.
Oh, that's like
Yeah. Romanization, you think?
Romanization.
I really... It doesn't matter. What happens here? Oh! Okay, so they added this, or they removed this whole second line, the whole like Japanese grammar joke. They removed that from easy type. So the whole joke about the 3 C's, that's missing. And I guess that was probably going over some Japanese kids' heads because they hadn't learned those things yet. Alright. Let's continue. Alright, we got through there. Let's go out here. Ooh. Ijo arimasen, and that's saying nothing out of the ordinary because they're keeping watch. And it's pretty common for that to translate as all clear. All's clear, or sometimes we'll get all's well, I guess. That's why I got that there. Nothing out of the ordinary is how this literally translates. Ijo is like a strangeness or abnormality, and arimasen does not exist.
No problem here.
Yeah. Salute. Oh, that's not what's going on. So SNES goes down. Uh-oh. So I have a question for you. What happens? Well, if this guy had repeated that same line, what should I have marked him off twice, or just that one time? I wonder.
Depends on if they wrote it down.
Okay. Okay. Chikagoro shiro no fuinki ga yodonde kanjiru desu ga. And that's saying lately the atmosphere around the air around the castle has felt gloomy or heavy. How do we call what's yodon? Stagnant, sluggish. Just that feeling. I don't know how it goes. I wouldn't say it's evil though. Uneasiness, something just weird. So I think evil is maybe too strong here. Just something feels dark. Not even dark. Malaise. Yeah. It's not evil. So the mal and malaise almost makes me worry. Okay, they went from sluggishness to uneasiness in the J2E translation, and that is because you can see both words in there, maybe. Okay. Did I just see Spanish burrito? Spanish word for, dawn?
You saw the bowl below the bowl of rice, okay.
Alright. Jiki yoru desu. It will soon be night. They're being polite and proper here. They're showing like proper respect. As we might expect from a soldier. Derarenai hou ga yoroshii ka to. I believe it would be best if you not leave. And they're using kind of polite, I guess honorific type talk to us. It's pretty nice.
It's not Keigo.
I mean, it could be. There's technically different types of Keigo, so I don't.
Oh, yeah. I don't know.
Okay. It's too late. It's saying it will soon be night, like shortly it will be night. It's too late. It's evening. No, it's not. It's late. I could be a real stickler and point this out, but I don't want to.
Yeah.
Stay in, sir. So you got a little bit of politeness thanks to the sir here. I really like that. I'm actually going to give a point on that. And give one on that while we're here. It's late. Better stay in, sir. It's kind of good. I like that. Shouldn't leave right now. That's kind of a direct feeling that I don't like coming from it. That misses the nuance slightly.
That one's telling you what to do, and the other people are giving you advice.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, I hope you don't hear my stomach rumbling. Okay, I think this is the same. Oh no, it's not. Oh no, there's so much text in this game. Myocho go shutatsu desho. You're gonna leave tomorrow morning, right? Kyou wa mou aisumi kudasai. So please rest tonight. For tonight, already. Go shupatsu desho. So they changed shutatsu into shupatsu. Japanese is weird in that way that you can do that. So departure and shupatsu is basically the same, but is like more everyday. Just a more everyday one.
Okay.
You're leaving early tomorrow, right? Leave tomorrow morning. That's kind of nice phrasing. You're leaving early at dawn. It's to show I don't like that. It's not it doesn't have the show feeling in there. Does that make sense to any other translators? Got the right in there.
Mm-hmm.
There's a little bit of a indirectness.
Yeah, because Boom Pro is teaching me that. Yeah.
Go get some rest. That's not the politeness level that's being shown here. O yasumi kudasai. That's pretty polite. Rest well tonight. I like that, please. Okay. Oh no, Namingway is tied with Super NES. Is that the same? Okay. I think we're gonna have to stop in about 20 minutes because there's no way that I can keep doing this. この部屋の宝を厳重討伐に持っていって良いとのことです。Right, this is basically giving hearsay, and he's saying, I'm told or I've heard that it's okay for you to take the treasures in this room for the summon monster, what do we call that? Destruction, get rid ofness, subjugation. So you're allowed to take, I'm told that you're allowed to take those treasures. That's basically it. Take the treasure in this room. Alright, so from what it sounds like, we can, in the Japanese, we can imply that he's heard this from some sort of like hierarchy. It's come down from high that he's heard these things. Like he's been given permission. And here he's just saying, take it in the Super NES one, so that nuance is kind of not there. You should take the treasures in this room to help you defeat the Phantom Beasts. A lot of this is correct, but the fact that it's been told to him, rather than maybe his personal opinion, that nuance is different here. Take the chests in this room is just like a direct, straight, like putting your fist in someone's face directness. So let's see, I don't like this one, and yeah, I don't like that one. Ooh, okay. So, 壁にあるスイッチを押せば扉が開きます. So the door on the wall will open if you press the button or the switch. A lot of times switch and button can be the same, or they can be different depending on the context. Luckily here we can kind of see it. But I think in Breath of Fire 2 there was a time when they messed that up. And like sometimes if I would translate anime without seeing the anime first, because it would give me a script first. I wouldn't know which one is intended until I see the anime. So it's like, is it a switch? Is it a button? I don't know. And you never know because it could be either, and the writers are different. Okay, Kabino switch is on the wall there. It's telling you to press the button technically, and then we'll open the door. That's okay. It's not a big deal. You push the switch in the wall. Push the switch in the wall? That's an interesting phrasing, but oh well. The door will open. Okay, this is the closest. The J2Es is the closest right now, but well, it'll make up for what it just did. Alright, just some formatting changes here. The switches on the wall, and you can totally see how they're aching maybe for space. If you look at the DS translation, I wish I had it handy. If you look on the Final Fantasy IV translation comparison on my site, the DS translation here, it's on the big article I wrote, which Final Fantasy IV translation should you play. The translation here for it is so just like, how can you make this the most archaic, robotic, weird sounding? It's like, should you press the implement upon the wall, then blah blah blah.
It's like you can have one character who talks like that in the whole game.
Yeah. But the neat thing about the DS version is because everything is so weirdly over the top fantasy archaic, which it's not my flavor that I like, but if I'm okay with it, and other people prefer that, that's super cool. But by doing it that way, when it came to Ying's wife, who speaks in a very strange, like a very unique Japanese dialect, it's very casual. Keeping her in plain normal English achieves that effect, which is pretty cool. So it's kind of a give and take trade-off sometimes. Alright, so I need to explain the treasure chests. the chests in these games, they will change from version to version. Easy type has different chest contents than the original. Super NES version also has different contents.
So the same stuff might not be inside.
So with that said, everything that appears in this text box will appear equivalent of this text will appear on the side. So the new contents will not appear. Like okay. I could program extra to make so we can see how they all differed. Looks like there's just a formatting change there. Every time I open a chest, it's going to do that little delay because it has to fill in the text. You can even see it fill in the text if you want. It wouldn't be bad, but because we have to do it 4 to 6 times every time, it bogs me down. Okay, we got an ether. Ether 1, ether.
Why does it have that little symbol next to it?
Yeah, sometimes there's icons associated with items, but modern fonts don't have those icons, so I'll just put that instead. Sometimes items will have icons in front, sometimes they won't. It's very just whatever people felt like at the time. Okay, we can actually look at the items. So we can see ether, and it has a description up here. It looks like they took out they took out all the spaces for the easy type for some reason, and I don't know why. Ether 1 recovers MPs. I'm one of the people who prefers just to say MP instead of MPs, even though it's short for magic points. I hope that this is not disturbing. Ether restores MP. Restores small amount of MP. So technically this does not say small amount, but because Namingway edition is based on a prior project called Project 2, which is a ROM hack of Final Fantasy 2 for Super NES, to just like improve it and add things, add fixes. The Namingway is going to have like a lot of weird extra stuff that isn't in any of the others, and this is the case. Sometimes these are wrong too. It looks like they didn't have an icon at some point, or they added like, I don't know. Tent? Oh, tent, they say recover HP and MP, but they just said MP's over here. So if I was a jerk, I would take a point off. I'm only half a jerk, so I will only take 0 points off. Restore HP and MP, restores all allies HP and MP. Here it says, technically it says rest. QK is to take a rest or a break. HP and MP, Gakaifuku, HP and MP restores. Trying to think when there's some downtime right now. Trying to think of where I'm gonna stop the stream. Like, should we stop it before the bedroom scene? I like to just mess with that.
Think about what you want to start with tomorrow.
Yeah. Okay. ここは代々バロンに伝わる宝物が安置されていて、立ち入りは禁じられています。And that's saying, the treasures that are passed down from generation to generation in Baron are stored securely here, and entrance is forbidden. So all of that is that. Treasure of Baron is stored here. No one is allowed. So the fact that it's from generation to generation is missing. Baron's treasure is stored beyond here, off limits. Okay, so that's also missing that detail. This is Baron's treasury. None may enter, so that's a little... Just to check. I'm gonna Homotsu, yeah, it's like a treasured item. It's a little different from Takara Mono or what's some other ones? Just I don't know. They're just Takara, I guess. It's kind of a fancier word. What do we got here? Well, I can't go in there yet, guys. I'm sorry. Here's Baron Castle. We can see SNES just says Baron. So when we go to the actual Baron Town, I wonder if it's going to say Baron or Baron Town. Keep it in mind because I'm going to forget. Alright, here's Sid's apprentices. And they're like, they hate that he overworks them all the time. Alright, so this one is going, Kyo mo tetsuya ka. And it's saying, another all-nighter today. And so we got, I found a good place to goof off and take a nap, ... Huh? Oops. Man, we've got to pull another all-nighter. So that's pretty good. That's I would keep it at that. But it looks like J2E has added more.
Oh.
If he wasn't such an insulting bastard, we'd actually enjoy this. Okay, I'm going to take a point off for adding. Did I take a point off already?
You didn't.
Okay, for SNES. See, that's why I need you. You're my point queen. Point guard. Alright, we got, finally a little bit of sleep. No, that's not what's being said here. Looks like they pulled this from the Super NES version. Okay, so I need to mention, since the Namingway version is kind of a patchwork of a bunch of different translations, and also based on a bunch of commentary from people like me and other fans, it's going to be all over the place, right?
Mm-hmm.
Kind of need to expect this with AI translations, because it's just going to be all over the place. What else? Especially nowadays, like, I don't work at Funimation anymore because, you know, it got, you know, it shut down. But where am I going with this? I got distracted by my cat. What is it talking about? Talking about Funimation? Cobbled together, yeah. So if I wanted to go get a job like that again, translating like anime and such, I think what I've been hearing a lot lately is they're taking machine translation and they want translators to just fix those up.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of the feeling that this all sounds like.
Okay.
So you can expect more stuff to feel like that, like cobblework, patchwork.
Yeah, there's no single voice.
Yeah,
it's like a bunch of
and it's kind of like the idea of taking this jumbled mess of AI, which is based on everything ever out there, and then trying to tame it. You're still not going to get there fully. Like if you just did just a straight translation, it would be cleaner probably. So I'm only bringing that up because this is a pattern, and you'll probably see it as time goes on as more and more companies rely on, I forget what the phrase is. There's like machine translation editing, MTE is one that I see often, but there's other phrases for it. Okay. While we're at it, it looks like J2E added this whole extra part
Well, yeah.
in the new patch. Originally, it wasn't like that.
Oh.
So I don't know why they would have done that. Alright, so Kyomo Tetsuyaka, another all-nighter. And then now he's saying, "Oh, oyakata ni wa naisho desu yo." He's saying, keep this a secret from the boss. Okay, don't tell our boss. Don't tell our boss. Please don't tell Chief. Chief is kind of cool. Shigoto wa tanoshii na to. He wants us to understand that, well, boy, work sure is fun. I guess that's where this "oops, I'm just kidding" thing is supposed to be. Tell him that work is fun. I don't know. It's not even in here, is it? Okay, I'll take one off on the Namingway. Namingway's losing at the moment. Even though I was just saying I thought I was being kind of lenient with it. Alright. Okay, here's another of his apprentices. Shido Oyakata o mimasen deshita ka? Have you seen Master Sid or Chief Sid? The Oyakata is kind of like a master, yeah, in like a coach kind of way, like a stable kind of way, like an apprentice type of master. Did you see our boss Sid anywhere? Okay, it looks like the Super NES is gonna lose points, and looks like Namingway's gonna lose points. J2E gets it, good. Hiku te no seibi o watashi ra ni makasete nani ara kangae goto shiteru n desu yo. And this one says he is left the repairs of the airships to us, and he is has stuff on his mind he's thinking about right now. He went off thinking about God knows what, leaving us to clean the airships. Seibi isn't clean. Seibi is maintenance or servicing. So I'm going to take one off on that. Also, it's pretty dangerous to use the word God in things, in fantasy things, because you might be like corrupting or like staining whatever careful world they're trying to build. You can't just throw the word God in there. You gotta be careful, you gotta think about it. It's okay to put it in there if you think it's okay, but you just gotta be careful. Have you seen said? So these two both. Alright. Wait, did I look at them already? I already looked at them. Oh. So originally they said he went off thinking about God knows. Wait, thinking about. I don't know. I don't want to try to put all that back together. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mention this before, but okay. You might not see it, but down here there's some text, and that says main text bank 2 3613. In the next few days, I'll put up like a spreadsheet or HTML files or something, so you can look at these on your own, and you can use these as the identifiers. This is like the technical stuff if you want to look at it later.
Oh.
Alright, let's go. Are we gonna make it? I don't think I can finish this in 9 minutes. この塔は立ち入り禁止です. And this tower is no entry. Literally, it means like entry is forbidden, and this tower basically is off limits. This tower is off limits. And Super NES, he just goes off limits.
Why is it capital?
Yeah, it shouldn't be. I could be a jerk, but I won't here. This tower is off limits.
I mean, he didn't say tower.
Also notice he's using des, so he's not being like a jerk. Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's not being a jerk. He's being a jerk here. Like, if this was real life, I'd be like, oh my god, okay. Is there a way to get in there? Oh, my stomach's gone. Yeah, Paul, is the Funky Fantasy book? Is that gonna get digital? Or is it still in stock, do you know?
No, it's
not
out
okay.
of print.
Probably have a couple hanging around the house.
We do have some in the house, like just...
Yeah. Okay, here comes the cutscene. This is another cutscene I don't like because it's easy to misinterpret and misread things, and it's easy for me to pick it apart and make it feel like it's a bigger deal than it is. That's my biggest worry. Okay. Got Cecil, says Rosa. Here comes Rosa. Here's our girlfriend at the time, I think. I don't think we're married yet. Okay.
They get married?
At the end. Whoa. Spoiler. Rosa says, oh, I can't do a woman's voice, I'm sorry. Or I could, but you would die. Says, Yokatta, Ruji data no ne. Thank goodness you're safe. Turns out that you're safe. What that means. You are not hurt? I was so anxious. Wait, I guess that we're getting to that. Yokatta, Ruji data no ne. Amari kyū na nimu datta no de shinpai shita wa. You are not hurt? I was so anxious. This almost feels like an old kung fu dub or subtitle. Yeah, there's a lot of details being listed. So let me. It was such a sudden mission that I was worried. That's what that means. Like the fact that it was just so sudden is missing there. Thank God you're all right. So I guess they have a god that they worship. Is what this means now. Your mission was so sudden, I was worried. So that's there. There's a bunch of formatting. Thank goodness you're all right. I was so worried. So the detail on this is missing in Namingway. And then Cecil goes, Ujisa, bokura wa muteiko na madoshi aite ni kizu nado oi wa shinai. And that's saying that, like, I'm fine, we're fine. We would never get hurt against wizards who put up no defense or who put up no resistance. ... Like, again, everything that's related to the atrocities he does, he seems to fall into the ... You'll see that from everything from the last 2 hours, and then for a couple more hours, and especially when he wrecks Mist, he loves those ... How could we? We are not hurt. How could we be? The wizards didn't even raise their hands, so it's kind of a neat way to say the wizards didn't even put up a resistance. It's interesting. We are not hurt. How could we be? As a translation, if this was a translation class, I probably would mark this off because it's not like reversible back to the original source. But it's acceptable. I'll accept it now. Again, this has made them into possibly a god-fearing nation. It's up to you whether you care or not. I don't really care. It's pretty common in English. We were all right, Cecil says in J2E. We couldn't get hurt by a bunch of magicians who didn't even resist. Alright, I'll say that's fine. There's probably some stuff I could pick apart there. How could we be hurt? The mages didn't even raise their hands. So we can see how this is again. Uh-oh. We have cats. The mages didn't even raise their hands. It seemed like they just came from the SNES version here. So, like, I feel like if I take one off, I should take off on the other. But the hesitation is missing on them. I'm gonna leave it. Because the hesitation's right there. He just walks away. Cecil. This is one of the few times they're all the same. I'm gonna take a screenshot. Did it work? I hope it worked. Okay, Rosa says, Ato de anata no heya ni iku wa. I'll go to your room later. And then Cecil goes, ah. And that's like an affirmative sound. Or like, uh-huh, or okay. Yeah. Later. Can I see you later? Here she asked a question, but no, she's just going to do it in Japanese. And there's a ... with hesitation. I'm coming to your room again tonight. There's an again here that doesn't necessarily need to be there. And maybe an I'll come to your room tonight, or I'll visit you tonight. Something like that would have been better. But that again isn't in there. It's a nuance that is teeny, but I don't know. I'll visit you later, okay? Wait, should there be a Rosa text here? Should it say Rosa there? Of course, says, I don't think that's the right feeling. Does that make sense? Look, even here it's just ... Yeah, so there's an affirmation happening here. Oh, alas, yes, indeed, that is correct. Hey, yo, yeah, right, gotcha. Alright, someone take that and make it into a song. Alright, so all of those here, there's a later added, but I don't care about that. But that affirmation is missing in J2E. And the, like, distant hesitation is missing from this, so. I can't believe J2E is winning this badly. Or this well. I don't know which one to say. Alright. We're gonna do a couple more. We'll talk to Sid. I don't think I have the strength to do the bedroom scene. So we'll save that for tomorrow and we'll start there, but we'll do this right now. Chikaro, which is like underground cell. So it just calls it dungeon in this, which is fine. What would I call it? Yeah, I would call that probably. That's how I would translate dungeon into Japanese. Underground cell or something like that. Alright, so this guard is here. He's saying, Mishiria de hanko shita madoshi tachi wa kono chikaro ni irete okimashita. So we put the wizards in Mysidia who like fought back, hanko, opposed. See, that's the thing. They say that they didn't oppose, but then they have some that did. So strange. I don't know who to believe. Okay, so the wizards who opposed in Mysidia, we've put into this dungeon like ahead of time or just in case. Oh man, my stomach's full. Right. The mages who didn't submit are confined here, so that's not. I guess you could say opposed equals didn't submit. I'll leave that there. He imprisoned the Mysidian magicians who resisted in this dungeon. Okay, that's fine. The mages who resisted are confined here. The details from Mysidia is missing, but it's pretty clear that it's all Mysidia stuff. Everything's Mysidia themed at the moment now. Alright, we'll go through that. Okay. Roya goshi naraba hanasu koto ga dekimasu. So you can speak if you do so through the cell bars. Through the cell. Okay. You can talk to them over the cage. That's a funky way of phrasing that. You say through in native English maybe. You can talk to them through the bars. You can talk to them through the bars. Alright. I don't think anything came of that line. Okay, so now we have an angry, what is this, a black mage? And he has two lines. One is a line and one is an angry question. One's an anger and one's an anger question. Okay. Kisama, ano ankoku kishi. You're that dark knight. Parentheses from that time. You're that dark knight. The Kisama is a really strong way of saying you. It's not good. So it's kind of missing in the Super NES translation, but like that's more of just like the way English works. You're that detestable dark knight. You could put like a phrase in there to reinflate the Kisama if you wanted. You're that detestable dark knight if you wanted. You're that dark knight. Blast you all? That's not even in there. I'm just going to mark that off. I'm going to mark off another one because it's missing the line anyway. Okay. We got, こんなことが許されると思うか? Do you think this sort of thing will be allowed, permitted? Yeah. Okay, Super NES missing that. Do you expect to get away with this? Actually, I kind of like the way that's phrased. Do you expect to get away from this? I'll add that. Got a white mage over here. 私たちはどうなろうと構いません. I don't care what happens to us, or it doesn't matter what happens to us, is what that means. 私たちはどうなろう. We don't care what happens to us. Okay, so the J2E actually has that line in there. Meanwhile, the Super NES and the Namingway are missing that first line, so I'm going to take a point off on those. Right. しかし、クリスタルだけは見知り合いに. However, please just... Okay, so this is an incomplete sentence, so I have to fill in the blanks. Please just return the crystal to Mysidia. There's a pleading that comes from this dakewa. I wonder if it shows up on this. Okay, so there's like a certain type of pleading that I don't really sense. Like, we're okay. Doesn't matter what happens to us. Please just do this. Here it's just please return. So that nuance is missing. I'm gonna take a bit off. Yeah, I got that just here. So J2E got that just. And we missed. I think I already took 2 points off on this. All right. This who's this? Another black mage. Says, お前ら何も分かっちゃいないんだ. And says, you guys don't get it at all. That's kind of what that means. You guys don't get it at all. It's rude and informal. Is what you get from this, and is angry. You don't understand. So the you here is plural because of the ra. You can see the pluralizing suffix here. And when you translate into English, sometimes plural and singular, you lose sense of that when you go to just the word you. It doesn't really matter whether it's plural. For the player, it probably doesn't matter. But here in the Japanese, it's specifically saying you guys, all of you guys, not just us. So if you like that sort of extra nuance info, there you go. If I had to, I'd probably use the word lot. You lot. Don't understand, maybe? Guys doesn't feel like it would come out from this guy.
You people.
You people. It's a pretty good one. Yeah. You people. Yeah, that's pretty good. You people don't understand. Alright. That was a good first time chat. Thanks for the first time chat. I messed up my first time chat the other day on an FF4 stream, and the guy was about to beat the final boss of FF4, and I was GG, but he had one more round in it, so I said GG early, and I felt like such a bum. I think I confused it. Alright. Okay, so it's the second line. Kristaru wa tada no houseki naka janai. That's saying the crystal isn't just a jewel or a gem or anything of the sort. The crystal is not just jewelry. That's pretty good. So this is something, because I don't really care about jewelry or gems or gemstones, I don't really know what the difference between jewels, gems, gemstones are. I kind of can, just from all my years on this earth, all 73 years on this earth, I've learned when to use each. But what's the difference between jewelry and gem?
I think for jewelry and gem, jewelry is like a thing you can wear. It's already made. Gem is just yeah.
Okay, so gemstone is specifically the... Because I ask because hoboseki is technically just like treasure stone.
Oh, I know that word.
Hoboseki.
Yeah.
So gem or jewel. there's always in like Japanese entertainment, there's always like magical jewels and gems. So it's just something I'm always like, what should it be? What should it be? You don't understand anything. The crystal is no ordinary gem. Tarano is pretty good. No ordinary. Not just jewelry. Not just an ordinary gem. All right, I'm stick with that. Hopefully I already detracted points.
Who knows?
While I was doing like the reprogramming for all this stuff, I think I found where like the code changes and the text changes start happening. The text storage changes start happening between EasyType and Super NES. And my feeling is they must have been worked on in the same room together. Ooh. At some point, developed in the same room together, but they became slightly different code bases, and then they kind of separated at some point.
Yay, Sid!
Alright. Oh, so Sid, in Japanese, he speaks in this really cool way that I like. And it gets so lost in translation, but I don't know how to re-inflate it. But it's not going to help if I try to explain it, but there's this Japanese comedian that I really, really like from Chidori. A Japanese... Daigo, yeah. So there's... if you just look up Chidori and Daigo and just kind of listen to the way he sounds, he is the voice of Sid in my head.
Whoa.
His voice and his mannerisms, like they don't look the same, but... Alright, so here we go. Modotta ka Cecil. That's basically saying, oh, you're back, Cecil. Oh, it doesn't say you're back. So Namingway doesn't say you're back. Neither does...
Neither does...
Yeah, alright, so we'll go back on that. I already checked that. Right, okay. Oh, the reason for this change here, probably, you can see that they did a formatting change. And that's because you can name your characters. And character names can have different widths. And if you have two nameable characters on one line, you risk having that like break out of the window or just causing like programming troubles. So if you ever see something like this, that's what's going on. Especially in the older games. These games nowadays are all like very automated and stuff.
Question about Sid real quick.
Okay, what's up?
What if Sweet Tooth from the Twisted Metal TV show was smart? Would that be like Sid?
No.
Okay.
I mean, he does do some crazy stuff like blow himself up all of that shit. I'll get back to that when we get to those scenes. Alright, so Sid says, Rosa ga shinpai shitotta zo. Oh, so I forgot to mention that he also is very dialecty. Rosa o nakasetara kono washi. He uses washi. For those of you from Funky Fantasy 4, remember that washi means eagle in Japanese also, but it's like an old person's washi or watashi. It can also be a dialectical watashi or I. You see, washi can mean I or me, usually used by elderly males. Japanese paper, I, me, usually elderly males. Eagle, probably other things too. But so when we had Google translated this game for us back about 10 years ago, there was eagles everywhere. Every time Sid talks, there was eagles everywhere. Alright, so he's saying, you had Rosa worried. If you make her cry, I will make you pay. Kono washi ga, okay. Rosa o nakasetara kono washi ga yurusan kara na. Alright, so here he says, how's my airship doing? I think a bunch of stuff must have got cut out here. Rosa's been worried. Okay, Rosa's been worried is not in these two. Alright. Then he says, if you make her cry, I will make you pay. If you make Rosa cry, I will make you pay. And that doesn't seem to be anywhere in the Super NES, so we'll take a point off on that. Oh wait, what's going on here? Alright, so it's not in the Namingway version either. Rosa's been worried. If you make her cry, I won't forgive you. You'll hear I won't forgive you all the time for Yuru-sanai. Yuru-sanai. Here he says Yuru-san because it's Yuru-sanai is like early era translators and then like upcoming translators. They will almost always just say I won't forgive you for Yuru-sanai, but there's a lot of ways that it can be translated. Okay, we got some changes here. Oh,
my lord.
Yeah, it's just, I was going to stop after this one because I didn't want to do the bedroom scene because it's longer. Right. Okay. Tokoro de washi no kawaii hikute wa buji ka. So, by the way, are my adorable airships all right? Unharmed, something like that. Buji is unharmed, literally. So my cute airships, are they safety? Are they in safety? Alright, so how's my airship doing is what he says in Super NES, but that's the fact that he adores them and calls them that way. Also, I think he's talking about airships instead of airships. I'm going to take one off on there. And by the way, how are my lovely airships doing? So J2E has it here. He adores his airships, and it seems to be plural. And the by the way is also in there. And Namingway says, how are my ships doing? Okay. Now we're going to, the second line is, Omae no buka wa arapokute ikan. Your subordinates are just so rough, and that is bad. They're just too rough. I don't want your crewmen abusing them. I guess crewman works. Okay, so this line is gonna have, if I mark everything that's missing from this line, we're gonna hit 0. So I'm not gonna go do every little thing here. Alright. Nanja ukanai kaoshite. So what's with the long face? That's kind of what that is. And so this becomes what's wrong. So basically Sid's doing his thing. He's hitting us with his attitude and his love for the airships, and he's kind of being like casual about it. But now he's like, oh, what's up? Alright. So what's with the long face? And that became, hey, something up. Hey, what's with that face? So what's wrong? And to, hey, something up. Oh no, it's not really.
They all kind of work.
Yeah, it works, but it's not hitting the same way. Okay. So now Cecil says, Jitsu wa Shido, and then dot dot dot, and then he's saying, actually, Sid, incomplete. Here he would say, actually, Sid, that's not in there. I'm just going to take that off. To tell the truth, Sid, that's in there in J2E. To tell the truth. He doesn't say Sid's name, but that's okay. And Sid says, Nanjato, Genju no Tobatsu ni, Omae igai ni akai tsubasa o shikireru yatsu ga oru ka? And he's basically saying, say what? Going to defeat the summon monsters? As if there's anyone besides you who can command the Red Wings, who can lead the Red Wings. It's sort of a sarcastic, as if feeling. Tell the truth, Sid. What? Nobody you could command the Red Wings? Geez, what's with the king recently? I think that's the next line. Okay, so the whole point of him having confidence in Cecil leading it, it's kind of missing. Like he's saying, like, you're the only one. You're the only.
Yeah, J2E.
Yeah, only.
Yeah.
Besides you, the whole sense of besides you. It's kind of missing from this and this. So Super NES and Namingway. It's just so he's just like, now who's next in command then? Mattaku heika wa dou saretan ja. So it's like, man, what's happened to His Majesty is kind of what's going on there. What he's saying. I'm not sure what the king is thinking. His exasperation is not really there. That's okay. See, the G's has the mattaku. The mattaku, let me bring it up.
There's little words like that.
Yeah, mattaku. Yeah, good grief is sometimes you hear mattaku translated that way. Like when you're presented with a bunch of crazy stuff, you're like, ah.
Yeah.
You're like, mattaku. What's with the king recently? What the heck's the king thinking? That's pretty good. Yeah, I like that. What the heck is pretty good for that. I almost want to give it a point, but this line is so long. Shingata no hikute o tsukure to osharun ga. He's saying, the king has told me to make a new model airship, but ... He ordered me to make an airship. So it's the whole point of it being a new model is brought up at this point, but not in the Super NES translation. So I'm gonna take a point off for that. All right, I'm not gonna make him any more airships as in the Namingway, but the whole point of the new model is missing. Supposed to make a new model of airship. Okay, that's there. Washi wa hiku te o hitogoroshi no dogu ni nazo shitaku nai n ja. I don't want. Let me read it up here. I don't want airships to become or to be made tools of murder. I don't want it to be used as a weapon. So hito goroshi is actual like murder, but they toned that down as a weapon in Super NES. So leave that. I don't want to turn them into war machines. War machines, we've already kind of just done that, right? Like we just invaded Nasidia, but we didn't murder people with them. But I can see what it's going for, so I'm going to do that. As tools for killing, that's good.
That's a...
Yeah, see, it's tools originally in Japanese, but the tools isn't here. Okay, I'm going to give it a point because it has improved over the Super NES.
Yeah.
Machi no mono mo fushigi ga toru. And the people in town are also like bewildered, ... Yeah, okay. Now he tells you to go hunt phantom beasts seems to have been added to the J2E. Don't think that's in here, is it? Oh, I see. It's not... No, okay, that's not in the J2E, so I'm gonna take a point off on that. Oh, we've already passed my time limit. Alright. Okay, so the people in town are also bewildered. I don't see that. I don't see that here. The townsfolk are all confused, not to mention me. This is actually kind of good, not to mention me, because of the mole. Where is it? The machi no mono mo. That mo also means also. So he's kind of including it, and that's the not to mention me. I really like that. I'm gonna add a J. Oh wait, that's this one. Tomokaku kiyotsukete na. At any rate, be careful, okay? Right, so the being careful is not here in the Super NES. In any case, you be careful now. Here is in the J2E. That's pretty good. Alright, it's not in Namingway. Genju nazo omae no ankoken de ichigeki cha. So, summon beasts are just gonna be like, for your dark sword, summon beasts will be taken down in one hit. It's kind of the idea that he's saying. One hit of your dark sword will take down any old summon monster. Okay, that's not in the Super NES. His confidence in our skill of taking down the monsters is missing from the J2E, so I'm gonna take a point off on that. And it seems to be missing from Namingway. Yeah. Alright, there we go. And then he says, Washi wa ie ni kairu. I'm going home.
Yes.
I'm going to go home now. Alright.
I can translate that one.
It looks like there's more after this. So he says, I'm going home. Saikin kaitoran no de musume ga urusakute na. And I haven't been home lately, and my daughter is gets on my case about it. She's like is annoying about it in some way. Right. Well, you can see that the exclamation is different. His jauntiness is less here about stuff, but it's okay. I've been working all night, and my daughter is worried about me. But that's not what he's saying. I've been working all night. I'm gonna take that off. I've been spending a lot of time at work recently. He's just saying that I haven't been home lately. And my daughter's giving me hell about it. Giving hell about it is pretty good for that. Urusakute na. But he's just saying I haven't been home lately. I've been spending a lot of time at work recently. It's sort of the same thing.
Yeah, it could be, implied that he's not home because he's work.
Yeah, we can see that was...
That was there?
Maybe, I don't know. I can't go too deep into this anymore. Alright, the all-nighters thing is also not in the original. Honestly, it's not a big deal. But again, if this was a translation course, you would have gotten a lot marked off. But we've marked off so many on this that I'm okay just saying.
Did you start at 100?
Yes.
Okay.
Alright, so there he goes.
Bye, Sid.
Alright. Let's finish out these guys. We'll finish the drinking guys. Okay, this guy is going, Ite! Soku wa mamono ni yarareta kizu ga. That's saying, ouch, that's where the monster got me. That's the wound where the monster got me. Just ouch, that hurts. So presumably this is from the battle that we had on deck. And the reason I can tell you that is because we fought monsters on the deck. And then the game in Japanese tells me that, but you don't see that from the Super NES. You can't pull that info out necessarily. Ow, that's a bruise there, says J2E. It used to be, ow, that's where I got injured by the monster.
So the old one?
Yeah, the old one was closer. Like, he could have got that bruise from anything. Maybe he stubbed his toe. And then in the Namingway says, I can't believe I was wounded, which isn't the case at all. He's just saying, don't poke me there. So I'll take a point off on that. And this guy's sleeping. Taicho, ... and then yeah, that's captain, or commander, or leading.
They're all the same.
Yep. I took a screenshot when that happened earlier. Alright, looks like we have a easy type change here. Nishiria de no koto wa nomi makute wasuremasu. So the things that happened in Mysidia, all the stuff of Mysidia, we're gonna drink like crazy and forget it. It actually doesn't say me or we, so whoever you want to make the subject is kind of up to your... But since they're all kind of drinking around, looks like, yeah, Namingway does a half a good job at keeping the me or we out.
Yeah.
I'm gonna drink and forget what I did in Mysidia, but the I is in there. That's kind of cool. I kind of like that. I'm gonna add them. All right, how did it change an easy type? Okay, so originally it says I'm gonna drink like crazy, and here it says I'm gonna drink alcohol or something and then forget. Sake demo nonde wasuremasu. I'm trying to forget about the things we did in Mysidia. So the whole drinking thing is taken from Super NES. So
As it had to be.
I'm going to get drunk and try to forget about what happened at Mysidia.
That works.
I'm gonna drink like crazy.
Because when you drink like crazy, you do get drunk.
It works. The nuance isn't the shape the same as I would like, but it's fine. I'm just gonna leave it. It's much better than the others, at least. A lot of the choices made in the Super NES one here, these lines in particular, it's kind of neat to see them as they change slowly with each new translation release. They kind of all hail back to some of these Super NES ones, all the future ones. I did that, right? I did that. Okay.
Yeah.
Right. Akai Tsubasa mo ochita mon desu yo. It's saying that how the red wings have fallen. And then the exclamation adds a derision feeling. The red wings have lost their glitter. That's kind of cool phrasing. I wouldn't expect that from a like a non-native English speaker back in the 90s.
Yeah, that's very confusing.
But it works. They've lost their glitter. But it's basically he's upset and he's saying like, "Boy, we've fallen." Like not just glitter. Like yeah, sunk to a new low is pretty good. I would have liked this if this was an exclamation. It used to be an exclamation.
No. Why J2E people?
Wings have lost their splendor. No, he's saying like, boy, we've fallen. He's like taking it out on himself, kind of.
So then would you take out glitter?
Yeah, I did it for both. Alright. Okay. Nanto ato no aji no warui ni mu nan desho. And he's saying like, what a What a mission with a bad aftertaste that was, or something like that. What a bad aftertaste is what you get. Atoaji no warui. You get aftertaste, and warui is bad, so bad aftertaste.
We have the same phrase. That's cool.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff that's like that. That mission has made me feel bad. Like, I don't know. It's kind of missing. That job left me with a bad feeling. That one's better.
Okay.
But what did it used to be? That job left me. What that job left me with? Huh?
What that job left me with? A bad feeling. What that job left me with, ... A bad feeling.
That mission left a bad taste in my mouth. I actually kind of like that. A bad taste in my mouth is pretty good for that. Would have liked the dots here. I don't like to take every dot and just make it a period. That takes out a lot. So. Alright. We got one more line and then we're gonna stop. So far it's been crazy that J2E is winning. But I think it's largely because Namingway and Super NES have to make so many cuts. Those two are based on Final Fantasy 2, because one is Final Fantasy 2. Alright, so we'll take it at that then. Alright, so here's a maid lady. On our way up to our bedroom, she's telling us this. Bedo no shitsu wa torikaete okimashita. So I changed your bed sheets in advance. I've changed the sheets. I've changed your sheets. I've changed your linens. Your linen's fine if you want it.
Nice.
We got something. Alright. Myocho shupatsu nasaru toka. So she's being polite to us. Very polite, and we can see it elsewhere too. Instead of suru, it became nasaru. And that's an upwards in politeness. Alright, so I hear you have an early morning departure or such. Like she's hearing this second hand. Yeah, so you have here. That's pretty good from the J2E. This. I'm gonna take a point off of that because the hearsay is a little bit gone. I like to know that it was hearsay and that she's not keeping track of me. Konya wa yukuri o yasumi kudasai. So please rest well tonight. Please rest. Whatever. Rest well tonight. Good night. Ooh, I like the sir. I want to add that back in because of the politeness levels in here.
Yes, sir, here too.
Yeah. Okay, I'll add a sir in there.
Okay. Point guard on.
Yeah, thank you. Alright, so it looks like they forgot to put the word morning in there. It probably doesn't matter. Myocho is kind of like early morning, tomorrow morning. Yeah, like tomorrow morning. In my head, Myocho definitely feels early morning, like the Venus star would be out there. Still, you still see it. Alright, I'm going to walk very closely. Okay, I have to stop it here now.
Okay.
This is where we're going to stop for today, so I'm going to do a save state here. I hope I do not lose this save state. Well, yeah, so this is Jibun no Heya, which means self's room, or own room, like your own room. And so seeing it translated different ways is kind of fun. You see it, oops, see it translated as just room. Could be anyone's room, I guess.
The movie room.
We'll take a point off because it was maybe, yeah, it was the movie room here. The J2E says your, which takes us out of who we are, I guess. Self room. Captain's room it became in Namingway. However you want to handle it, it's fine. It's probably really hard to translate. This is the sort of stuff that happens in translation and you have to inflate and just rephrase to sound better. If you want to go with the super literal, you're going to end up self's room or room of self, and like, I don't want to be walking around talking like that. That's like Yoda.
Come visit me.
So. Alright. So anyway, this took 3.5 hours.
Save it again, another save state, just in case. Just in case.
Put it on save. Yeah, whatever that is. Alright. I don't know how often I'm going to do these streams. My idea was I would do these daily. Was this too slow for you guys? Let me know in the comments. I'm sorry that I was so bad at keeping up with the chat. This is sort of the problem. I have to keep track of 90 windows and 2 cats and so many things. And I feel like everything I'm saying is a crazy person, and because I'm doing, my mental load is so high, I'm gonna mess up and say something and people are gonna take it out of context. This has already happened with FF6. So just know that when I say stuff on stream, I'll probably have to correct it or add more just because of the way my brain is tired. I can't wait to eat. Alright, we don't have a ending credits or anything, but if things work out, I'll just continue tomorrow. We'll try to get Rydia in our party tomorrow. I think things will pick up after we leave Baron. Oh, we have to do the whole town though. The town will be fun. Towns are fun.
Is that the dancing girl?
The towns are fun, stories are rough. That's kind of how it is in general, I guess. Yeah, so I'll try this again tomorrow, and if tomorrow ends up being like too tiring for me, or if it drags on too long again, then maybe I'll do it every other day. But I want to get through this game. This is the slowest run ever. So good night, everyone. Please go to your self's room tonight, or
to your room of self.
Yeah, reach your room of self, and choose your favorite word to learn today. All right. Let's go.
Okay, thank you.
Goodbye, everyone. Let me close things. Bye.